Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. It's a steamy and electric atmosphere in Starkville, Mississippi. People have come from all over the Deep South to be here for Game 1 of this best-of-3 Super Regional Series between the Arizona Wildcats and the Bulldogs of Mississippi State. And a record may fall tonight. The largest on-campus crowd for a Super came back in '07. That was the last time Mississippi State hosted a Super Regional. 16 teams are still alive on the road to Omaha. Here is half of the bracket. Miami and Boston College also getting their series started tonight. They're in a rain delay, however, and won't get going for another hour. 5 of the 16 teams didn't make the NCAA tournament last year, including the 2 we're going to see here tonight, Arizona and Mississippi State, and they've been playing like they've had a chip on their shoulder all year. Hi again, everybody. We're going to have a lot of fun. I'm Clay Matvick alongside College Baseball Hall of Famer Ben McDonald, and this is just an outstanding college baseball atmosphere.
I don't think it gets any better than this. Are you kidding me? A super regional here in Starkville, Mississippi?
12 months ago, these two teams were at home after disappointing seasons. This year, 2 of the great stories in college baseball.
Yeah, I think you maybe look at 2 of the hottest teams in college baseball. Arizona's had a big turnaround. Picked to finish 9th in the Pac-12. Well, they finished 3rd, and as of late, they're playing their very best baseball play. They're 10-1 in their last 11 games. The offense has been solid all year long, but really hitting on all cylinders. 7 runs a game during that span. And for Mississippi State, what a turnaround season it's been for John Cohen's bunch. Finished dead last in the SEC last year. How about this? An SEC championship this year. First time ever in program history they are a national seed. How have they done it? It's been all about the offense for Mississippi State. Look what they've done. Runners in scoring position, 2 outs, and 2 out RBIs are just off the hook this year compared to last year.
Great pitching matchup tonight. 2 major league draft picks taking them out, including a first-rounder, Dakota Hudson of Mississippi State. It's going to be a hot one in so many ways here at the ballpark tonight. Game 1 from Starkville. Coming up next. You don't want to miss it. The heat index is going to be around 100 today here in Starkville, Mississippi. But you know what? After last weekend, we are happy that it is not raining. Arizona and Mississippi State ready to go here in Starkville with Game 1 of this Super Regional. Dakota Hudson, the junior from Dunlap, Tennessee, 9-4 with a 2.62 ERA. Taken in the late first round by the Cardinals last night. 34th overall. Not overpowering, but a devastating cutter.
No, he's been outstanding, Clay, all year long. I mean, 5th in the SEC in wins, 5th in ERA, 6th in strikeouts, 109 strikeouts. The fastball is 91 to 96. The cutter has been the difference for him this year. It's a new pitch he developed last summer, and when he gets in trouble, he'll really go to it. He probably will compete as well as anybody in the SEC and around the country for sure.
The College World Series champs in 2012, the Arizona Wildcats. This is the first national tournament for them since that title year. A 291 team batting average. Cody Raymer leads it off, followed by Zach Gibbons. Between the 2 of them, 180 hits on the year. Alfonso Rivas, Ryan Aguilar, J.J. Matajevic, Kyle Lewis, Cesar Salazar, Oliva, and Boyd rounding it out for the Wildcats. Here we go. This is the first game of the 2016 Super Regionals. And we're underway from Starkville. First pitch to Cody Raymer is down, ball 1. It's going to break out senior season for the middle infielder for Arizona. And a constant at the top of the order for Jay Johnson. And Dakota Hudson behind in the count. 2 balls and no strikes. Hudson coming off the worst outing of his year. Gave up 4 runs in Southeast Missouri State last weekend in the regionals. There's his first strike. There was a no decision, Ben, last Friday in the regional opener. But on the bright side for Dakota, only threw 70 pitches, so he's real fresh here tonight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be big for him, and we'll get into a little bit later on why. you know, the biggest reason for me, we get into it right now, is, you know, he was reliever last year. He only logged right at 17 innings pitched for the whole season last year, Dakota Hudson. And, well, he comes into this ball game at 106 2/3. So he's almost 100 more innings pitched this year than what he had last year. So you got to think the workload, while it's not dangerous, just a little bit more than what he's used to.
2-2 to Raymer is lifted into left field and deep. Going into the corner. Back there is Humphreys, and he's not going to get it. Around second is Raymer. He's going to stop there. Good start for Arizona as Cody Raymer gets a leadoff double in the left field corner to start this ball game.
Well, Cody Raymer's been really hot, and I tell you what, he gets the ball up in his zone and kind of slices it. Being left-handed, slice it toward the left field line. Reed Humphreys cannot come up with it, and a great start for Arizona.
So Raymer extends his hitting streak to 13 games. And the Wildcats have the first base runner of the Super Region. Now here's Zach Gibbons, one of the best hitters in Arizona baseball history, leading the team in average, second in the Pac-12 at 380 on the campaign.
And I think this is the key really for Arizona, to try to score first and score early if they can. Try to take the crowd out of it. And of course, the starting pitcher always vulnerable to me in the first inning, because everything is so much different from the game mound to the bullpen mound. When you come in not quite sure what's working for you, and if they're going to get Dakota Hudson, they better get him early, because once he gets in a groove, he's going to be really hard to beat.
Was the 34th pick overall a bit of a disappointment for Hudson?
I think so. I think most projections had him going, you know, mid-first round, so he fell for the last pick of the first round. But still, at the end of the day, you know, if you'd have told Dakota Hudson this, you know, this time last year that you're going to be a first-round draft pick, I think he would have taken it in a heartbeat.
Here's the 1-0 to Gibson. And he pops it up behind home plate, and Kruger's not going to get there. Gibbons last week at the regional went 6 for 19. But this is a team that, in a typical West Coast fashion, they'll play small ball on you. 76 sacrifice bunts on the year. It's third most in the nation. Ball and a strike to Zach Gibbons.
And that's unusual for Arizona, as you mentioned. I mean, they do this so much. This is part of their game. What you want to call it, small ball, West Coast style baseball, whatever you want to call it, this is what they do. See a lot of bunts, a lot of hit and runs. And I tell you what, keep an eye on them, too, with 2 strikes. They'll also drop a bunt down, a sacrifice bunt, even with 2 strikes. Most teams won't do that, but Arizona, it being such a big part of their game, they're not afraid to put it down with 2 strikes either.
They've got 8 bunts already in this national tournament for sacrifice. That's how it's called. What do you call this little pre-pitch stance by Dakota Hudson?
It's very strange. You know, it's that's what I call it. It looks like a praying mantis out there a little bit, you know.
The 1-2. Oh, what a breaking ball. First strikeout victim for Hudson is Zach Gibbons, 1 down.
Well, Dakota Hudson has 2 different breaking balls. He's got a tight cutter that we talked about, and he's got a bigger breaking ball. Both of them can finish, and watch the late break downward action on that big breaking ball right there. Looks like a strike most of the way there, and all of a sudden it's gone out of the zone. And when you get down 2 strikes against Dakota Hudson, he has a lot of different weapons that he can finish you with.
And now Alfonso Rivas, the left fielder, will take a trip down to Jay Johnson. A quick chat here with 1 out and a man at second. 38th NCAA tournament for Arizona, their 4th Super Regional. Won the Lafayette Regional last week, but dropped game 2 to Lafayette, forcing the Cats to play and win 3 games in a 27-hour period because of the rain we had last week. We finally wrapped up Monday night. First pitch, a strike at the knees to Rivas.
Well, you see Hudson's velocity, it's good, 94 miles an hour. I think you're going to see him tick up from that even a little bit. Keep an eye on his fastball command. If you ever want to know if a pitcher is really on his game, don't watch the results. Watch where the catcher sets up and watch where the glove is. Watch where Kruger sets up and see how close Dakota Hudson can get to hitting that glove. That's when you know when a guy's really on his game.
Nothing at 2.
See, that was a little tighter breaking ball, so it wasn't the bigger breaking ball that he got Raymer on. That was more of a tight cutter type ball. The cut fastball is probably going to be 88 to 90. Then the bigger breaking ball will be 83, 84 miles an hour.
Fouled off. Rivas, a two-way freshman for Arizona. 2-1 on the mound with a 3.86 ERA. He's got a save on the year. In fact, earned the save in the regular season finale at Hawaii. And had a couple of appearances during the region. Good chance we're going to see him do both this weekend. It's in left field to start this one. The 0-2. Ground ball to the first baseman low. And a step on the bag for the second out. Over to third is Raymer. 2 down here in the Arizona first. Jay Johnson took over for a college baseball legend, Andy Lopez. After 2 years at Nevada, led the Wolfpack to the program's first conference title. Just 39 years old. One of the country's top recruiters in recent years. Arizona's got a good one. And Jay Johnson. He was an assistant at San Diego for a while. Landed the #1 recruiting class in 08. And the #2 class in 2010, including Chris Bryant. So he knows how to get talent. He's done a great turnaround job with Arizona this year. Swing and a miss to Ryan Aguilar. Senior first baseman. Leading the team in homers and runs batted in. All Pac-12 this year. Was not an everyday player before this season. Jay Johnson gave him a chance, and he's taken advantage of it. Ball and a strike. Aguilar hit just 190 last year in 26 games. A lot of fluids need to be consumed today to stay hydrated.
Yeah, but it better be the right kinds of fluids.
Right. Back up the middle, off the glove of Hudson. Holland gets over there, and in time, they get Aguilar to end the inning. So Dakota Hudson gives up the leadoff double to Raymer, but in 16 pitches, he's out of the first. And Mississippi State, coming up for the first time in the Super, Mangum will lead it off. Some of the best food in college baseball right here in Starkville, Mississippi. All right, Arizona goes quietly in the top of the first. Now the Bulldogs coming up for the first time. Going to face Bobby Dalbec, the junior out of Colorado. A two-way star for the Cats, making his 5th start on the mound of the year. Used mostly out of the bullpen during the season. But he did start game 3 of the regional last week and won.
Yeah, fastball's good, though, 90 to 94. Changeup is out. When he's really on his game, he can throw you a strike 1 changeup, and he can turn it over even more and run it down away from you. He's a really good athlete. He's really going to field his position. Two-way player. Been outstanding. Even, you know, this 5 starts play, still got 9 wins and 7 saves. He's really been used kind of in every part of a game, from closer to starter to middle relief guy for Arizona this year.
This is a terrific Mississippi State lineup led by Jake Mangum, who hits .418. Kruger, Lowe, Collins, Robson, Rooker, Humphreys, Gridley, and Holland. The lineup that John Cohen's been running out there the last several games. There's a foul ball off the front foot of Mangum. The SEC Freshman of the Year. Walk that off. He's got that shin guard on that front foot, but it might have missed it.
Yeah, maybe got it behind him.
What a year for Mangum, the true freshman from Pearl, Mississippi, a Baseball America 3rd team All-American. And he was a part-time player into the first week of April.
Oh, yeah, he was. I mean, he started the first game of the year, and then he kind of got to the bench a little bit. And Robson got hurt.
Soft liner to center. Oliva over to his right to make the catch. 1 up, 1 down.
Mangum got an opportunity and has not looked back for Mississippi State.
Robson hurt his hand, missed the better part of April. Mangum part of the reason that Bulldogs got a national seed. Now here's Drac Kruger, the catcher, first team All-SEC. Kruger started his college career in the Pac-12 at Oregon a couple of years ago. Junior from California, .350 on the year, 8 homers and 40 runs batted in. .1-0 from Dalbec. A strike called by home plate umpire Chris Marshall. Kruger started the year as the regular DH, but he has caught the balance of the game since mid-April. Ground ball, back up the middle, knocked down by Raymer, but he doesn't have a play. First hit of the game for Mississippi State. They've got a 1-out base runner.
Nice piece of hitting by Chad Kruger. That ball kind of got in on his hands, but strong enough to muscle it up through the infield for an infield hit.
Kruger's now reached safely in 15 straight. John Cohen, SEC Coach of the Year. That's for the second time. First time with Mississippi State. He and Ron Polk, the only coaches in SEC history to win the award with 2 different programs. That's going to get away. Chasing is Salazar. And now Kruger's at second base.
Yeah. I don't think Dalbec and Salazar got crossed up. I just think this ball looked like it came down, some good downward action, and you see Salazar kind of came up expecting that ball to come up, and when he did, it went right under the glove.
It's going to be a wild pitch on Salazar. Nathaniel Lowe at the plate. First team all-conference first baseman. His brother Josh, high school star in Marietta, Georgia, committed to Florida State, but he was drafted 13th overall by the Rays yesterday, and he's in attendance here tonight rooting on his brother Nathaniel.
Oh, yeah.
2-0 pitch. It's down and in. 3-0.
But it's one of these situations, Arizona, you got first base open. Yes, it is early in the ball game. I understand that, but still, these types of situations, Nathaniel Lowe has been so good this year. They're not going to pitch to him, not going to give him anything to hit, just set up the double play.
So 2 on, 1 out. Here comes Gavin Collins. Not a great situation to start the outing here for Bobby Dalbec, who was a 4th-round pick today of the Red Sox.
Well, I mean, this is the problem when you pitch to Mississippi State. You really can't pitch around guys. 7 out of 9 in this lineup hitting over 300, and everybody can hurt you. That's kind of what separated Mississippi State from most teams in college baseball this year, is the fact that they are deep throughout the lineup. And even if you try to pitch around a couple of guys, there's some guys behind them that can really hurt you and have all year long.
First pitch to Mississippi State's top home run hitter. That's down. Collins struggled a bit last week in the regional, hit 154, 2 for 13, but you can see the clutch hitting for the Bulldogs, as you talked about at the top of the broadcast, has been terrific this year.
Runners in scoring position this year, 50, plus 50 points higher. You talk about especially 2 out base hits, 72 points higher, and that's been the big difference from the offense from last year to this year. But it's also a maturity factor for Mississippi State. It's a lot of guys that got some reps last year, and they've grown up a little bit, and that's what it takes.
6 straight out of the strike zone by Dalbec, and here comes Dave Long, first-year pitching coach for Arizona.
Well, it's these first innings that are so tough for pitchers. And you got to remember, Bobby Dalbec, only his 5th start of the entire season. So with this kind of atmosphere, this type of environment, if you can get through that first inning, because I'm going to tell you, when you come from that bullpen mound, you're not quite sure what's working for you. Then you got to step up in the first inning and face an offense like Mississippi State. The wheels can start to spin pretty fast in a hurry.
Mississippi State, they're as hot as the thermometer right now. 14-2 since May 1st. Best record in the country over that span.
Yeah, speaking of thermometer, how about that?
Oh.
Is that right? About 117 in the heat out there in the sun? Oh, gosh, what a barbecue pits out there with all the coals going. You know, that's not helping things out at all.
They don't care.
No, oh no.
The 2-0. 7 straight out of the strike zone for Dalbec.
There's a good pitch right on the outside corner.
Gavin Collins back to his old self at the plate this year. And those numbers, his power numbers have really increased. Last year he struggled with a hamate bone injury and hit just .228. He's been such a key part of this everyday Mississippi State lineup this year. Trying to make Dalbec pay here in the first inning. To right field. Zach Gibbons barely has to move, makes the catch. He's got a good arm. He'll get it in quickly. 2 down.
Really good pitch by Dalbec. He got behind 3-0. He's able to make 2 quality pitches and finally gets a fly out of Collins. And now he's just 1 out away from getting out of a big first inning.
Now here's Robson, junior from Ontario. He broke a bone in his hand, his left hand, in early April. And as we were alluding to, as strange as it sounds, it was kind of a fortunate accident for this team because in the 14 games he missed, Jake Mangum emerged as a star. 2 outs for Robson.
How about that changeup? We talked about Dalbec. His best pitch is his changeup, the ability to him to be able to throw it in any count, in any situation. And watch him turn this ball over. Look at the speed. Look at the downward action running down and away from Jacob Robson.
It's the first batter he's worked ahead of so far.
So he didn't come back at 92. Yeah, people always say, what's the most important thing about pitchers? I say strike one. I mean, to get ahead, if you're always pitching behind in hitters counts and you're 1-0, 2-0, 3-1, I don't care how hard you throw. You're not always going to get away with that. There's going to be days you're lucky and you do, but for the most part, you can't pitch behind. But when you're throwing strike 1 or 2 of the first 3 pitches for strikes, you put the hitter on the defensive right away, and that's what pitching is.
And he falls behind again, 2-1. Robson getting the call today on 4 days rest because ace Nathan Bannister was used up last week, pitched 2 games in the region. And he's had only 3 days rest. And their number 2 starter, C.J. Cloney, coming off his worst start in 2 months. So Johnson going with Dalbec tonight, trying to get out of a jam here in the first. Down and in, 3-1 with Rooker on deck, the DH.
Dalbec's command just not there yet. We've seen some good pitches, and he was able to come back. Gavin Collins, a batter early on a 3-0 count through 2 really good fastballs on the outside part of the plate. He'll need to make a quality pitch right here. 3-1, you got to throw a strike. You don't want to leave something right in the heart of the plate.
Third 3-ball count for Dalbec. And sprayed foul down the left field side. Dalbec in that crucial outing in Game 3 of the regional last week against Sam Houston. Threw 105 pitches over 7 innings. Really came through when Arizona needed it.
Yeah, and he'll need his best pitch right now. He just got a fastball to run the count 3-2. Don't be surprised if he comes back with his best pitch. His best pitch is that changeup, and it wouldn't surprise me at all if he throws a 3-2 changeup in this situation.
Here it is to Robson. Did take something off of it. Robson sends it to center. And that's going to end the inning. And Dalbec shakes off the hook here in the first. We have played 1 in Starkville. No score.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals is presented by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase every day. And in part by Advil. Fast, powerful, and proven relief that makes pain a distant memory.
You and I are going to get some of that grub before this weekend's over.
We're going that way.
I mean, I poked an extra hole in my belt just for that reason. Duty Noble is overflowing here today. This is the first time that Mississippi State has hosted a Super Regional since '07. And they set records back then. The two largest on-campus crowds for Super Regionals right here at Mississippi State in '07 when they played Clemson. And I think that 13-7-15, that's going down tonight.
Oh, I think so. I think we're going to get over 14 tonight. Are you kidding me? 14,000?
Well, back in April for the A&M series, they had the second largest crowd in NCAA baseball history. They had over 15,000 here a couple months back. It's Matajevic, Lewis, and Salazar for the Wildcats here in the second. I mean, despite 100 degrees.
I figure say it doesn't look that hot out there, but it is. Trust me. And that sun and the shade over by third base, not bad at all. But the folks down the first base line are hurting right now.
Hudson misses down 1-2 to J.J. Matajevic, the sophomore out of Pennsylvania. His average up almost 60 points from his freshman season, hitting .289, 4 homers and 35 runs batted in. Swung on and missed. Second strikeout for Hudson. Kruger comes up and does the dirty work. 1 away. At 1:30 in the afternoon, it's 98 degrees, and these guys had nothing better to do. They thought, let's just go to the ballpark and wait.
Them boys,
for the game to start.
yeah.
And now they've got plenty of people around.
I wonder what the weight limit is for that scaffolding out there. There's a lot of folks there. Those boys may be horizontal here in a couple of hours. They've been here for a while.
And you know they built it themselves. It's not up to code, but they're proud of it.
Yeah. Better have some extra braces on that one.
Now here's Kyle Lewis at the plate for Arizona. There's strike 1 from Hudson.
And you see what Hudson's starting to do. He's starting to establish the big overhand, the bigger breaking ball, and he's finishing guys with that short, tight breaking ball. So he's showing them 2 different breaking balls.
Kyle Lewis, making his 21st start for Arizona. He's only had 69 at-bats this year. But with Dalbec on the mound, Lewis is at third base. And for the second straight outing, no Dalbec in the batting order. And Arizona loses something when he's not in there. Down the line, gloved by Lowe. And quickly Hudson has 2 down here in the Arizona second.
You see Kruger wanting that ball down on the outside corner. Ball runs back just a little bit. Wasn't a great pitch. Inside outed by Lewis. But that's one thing not many folks are talking about at Mississippi State. It's a much improved defense from last year, too. Lowe with a nice job. Not really many weak spots. When you talk about Mississippi State, I mean, if you had to pick on one thing, you know, maybe the stolen bases aren't great, 9th best in the SEC, but past that, they've been really good this year, pretty much in every phase of the game.
Gridley had Salazar shaded up the middle, but he got it by him anyway. Cesar Salazar with a 2-out single for Arizona, their second hit against Hudson.
Well, you know Arizona can swing it. They have all year long and been even better here in the postseason when it means the most. Salazar right back up the middle.
Now bring up Jared Oliver, sophomore center fielder. Salazar not a great threat to steal, 1 stolen base on the year. Now the guy at the plate, he is, in fact, leading the Pac-12 in stolen bases with 13 on the year.
Well, that is part of Arizona's game. And when you look at them for the year, 73 stolen bases. That led the Pac-12 this year.
Line drive, snared by Holland at second. And another fairly quick inning for Dakota Hudson, just 10 pitches. 1.5 in the books. No score here in Starkville.
Brendan Fitzgerald back in studio. Want to let you know 7:04 is the start time for Miami and Boston College. Chance to see Zach Collins, semifinalist for the Golden Spikes Award. Clay, Ben, back to you.
And as soon as we're done here in Starkville, we've got a great ball game coming up here on ESPN2. Texas A&M and TCU in the College Station Super Regional. That's a rematch of last year's Super.
That's right.
Between those two. There's a fly ball from Brent Rooker into left field. Alfonso Rivas is there. So Bobby Dalbec, who had to throw 21 pitches to get out of the first inning, gets the first out here in the second on 1 pitch.
That's okay. I mean, you get through that first inning, you put a goose egg up on that scoreboard, that's all that matters. Even if it takes you 30 pitches to get there, because that, again, for me, is the toughest inning for a starting pitcher. And he gets a really quick out, which is what he needs now. If the pitch count goes up a little bit, you'd like to be pretty quick. So establish strike one. That's what he did, and gets an easy out of Rooker.
Reed Humphrey swings at the first one as well. And that's going to be a foul ball. Kyle Lewis tried to play that. It was in foul ground. Third base umpire Scott Kennedy right on top of it.
Ball looked like, you see his right foot, left foot. That ball's clearly foul.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. That was the right play by the third baseman, Lewis. Pretty much barehand that ball and try to get him if it was a fair ball. The only thing he had time to do.
So Humphreys will come back to the batter's box. Good to see him out there tonight. You know, we were talking to John Cohen about Humphreys yesterday, and he was hit on his throwing hand last week with a 95-mile-per-hour pitch. He was iffy for tonight. Of course, a two-way star for Mississippi State, plays left field. Also the closer.
Yeah, he'll jog it on in from left field. Got 7 saves this year. Kind of old school. Like Bobby Thigpen back in the day for Mississippi State, jogging in from right field. Or Pete Young at third base, trotting over from third base to close the ball game out.
Swings a good bat, too. Hitting .317 on the year, 5 homers. 44 runs batted in. Was named to the all-region team last week. Hit a team high 500 in the 3 games. Ground ball left side. Weakly hit. Lewis Boyd gobbles it up, throws out Humphreys, 2 down.
All of a sudden, Bobby Dalbec stuff is coming. You see him now. He's to the outside of the part of the plate, inside with the fastball, getting his breaking ball over, and everything's down in the zone. That's how he pitches when he's on. First inning, not so sharp, but able to get out of it. Now the rhythm is starting to come. Now the stuff is starting to come.
Dalbec, as we said before, the Red Sox took him 118th overall in the 4th round today, but they drafted him as an infielder and a hitter.
Yeah, I mean, and look, he was projected when the season began to be a little bit higher pick than what he was. Obviously, he didn't have a great year at the plate. Still showed some power at times.
Now he hits Gridley.
So he gets Gridley with a fastball up and in. So it wasn't a great year for Dalbec, but still, he's going to get an opportunity. At the end of the day, that's what you want, is an opportunity. It's just a fastball. Salazar set up on the inside corner, wanted that fastball inside on Gridley, but just runs too far in.
Third base runner for Mississippi State, but they don't have a hit out of the infield yet. As John Holland, the number 9 hitter in the order, comes up.
Bobby Dalbec has good stuff. There's no doubt. We've seen that already. Fastball's been up to 94 so far. And it's got some sink and some late life and movement to it. And we were right. The changeup has been really good. He's thrown it behind in fastball counts. See that ball spotted perfectly on the outside corner. And that's where the difference becomes for a pitcher. Anytime that you can throw a fastball in a fastball count with something other than a fastball, that's when the game starts to change a little bit. And certainly for Dalbec, he's shown some ability, especially to get out of that first inning with a 3-2 changeup. Now, it wasn't a great pitch location-wise, but because the arm speed's good and because it was something other than a fastball in a fastball count, he got away with it and got out of a big inning.
The 0-1. To John Holland, a College World Series vet. Played in the 2012 CWS for Florida State. Missed 2013 with an injury, then transferred to junior college in Alabama before coming here last year. One from Dalbec. Catches the inside corner, 1-2. Speaking of Florida State, they face Florida in Gainesville starting tomorrow night right here on ESPN2. Second straight year that those two old foes meet in the Supers.
Yeah, love those matchups. You mentioned
oh, yeah.
TCU and Texas A&M. What a war that was last year.
Swung on and missed, and Dalbec showing signs of settling in. 21 pitches needed in the first inning, just 10 in the second. We go to the third, no score. Coverage of the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals continues all weekend on the ESPN networks. Tonight, right here on ESPN2, after our game, TCU faces Texas A&M in Game 1 from College Station. All games in the Super Regionals are also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. The SEC then hosting a record 5 Supers this weekend. It really speaks to the dominance of the Southeastern Conference this year.
Yeah, the conference wasn't as deep as what we've seen in the past. Certainly the ACC got 10 teams in this year, but the SEC, the top 7 all got the host regionals. 5 make it to Supers, and it's the first time ever for any conference to be 4 national seeds and 7 to host regionals. So yeah, the SEC was dominant towards the top for sure.
Lewis Boyd leading it off for Arizona. 9-1-2. Boyd, Raymer, and Gibbons. Wildcats with a couple of hits in the first 2 innings against Hudson. Boyd down the line. That's a fair ball. And the junior from North Vancouver, British Columbia, has the second extra base hit for Arizona tonight. And back to the top of the order in Raymer.
Yeah, Dakota Hudson gets a ball on the inside part of the plate. See it run back in right there. Not sure that's where it was supposed to be. And you see the layout of Collins. He can't come up with it. Right here, this ball's hit right down the line. Really no chance for Collins. It's the second time Arizona's let an inning off with a double. You get these kind of opportunities. They couldn't get the bunt down the last time. It ended up costing them a chance at a run. Dakota Hudson came up with a big strikeout when he needed to. They couldn't get the bunt down. All of a sudden, he pitched out of it. He'll have to do it again here in the third inning.
And now here is Raymer, who had that fly ball double to start the ball game.
Mississippi State definitely expecting bunt. See Lowe at first base starting to creep in. Even Collins in front of the bag over at third base. Got to think you're going to get the bunt, certainly with a team like Arizona with your leadoff guy up at the plate.
He flashes it, pulls it back, takes ball 1. You know, the ball Raymer hit, Ben, in the first inning, it just kept carrying to the opposite field. There isn't a lot of wind here tonight. It sure went a long way.
No, it did. A little bit of wind's kind of going that way. That ball slicing off the left-hander's bat toward left field, but you got to think.
Comebacker Hudson has the runner hung up. Boyd. And they're going to tag him out. Well, Hudson fielding his position well for the first out here in the third.
Dakota Hudson's a good athlete, but what a giant mistake made by Lewis Boyd at second base. You got to make sure this ball goes through before you try to advance. Hudson snares it and then has the awareness to make sure he checks the runner. And once he did, he gives it up to the third baseman, Collins, and it was easy pickings from there. So that's twice now. Arizona leadoff guy on with a double. Those opportunities don't come along too often. And twice now, Dakota Hudson of Mississippi State has found a way so far to pitch out of it.
Yeah, the Wildcats now 0 for 4 with runners in scoring position as Gibbons comes up again. Struck out his first time up. Last week, Gibbons passed current Cleveland Indians manager Terry Francona for 5th on the school's all-time hits list. Francona, of course, the 1980 Golden Spikes winner. He won the first one of the 1980s. You won the last one of the 1980s.
That's right. Very good. Never thought about that.
Where do you have your trophy?
It's in the garage.
Come on.
No, it's not. It's in my office. I'm proud. It's a beautiful trophy. Beautiful trophy.
They're down to 25 semifinalists right now.
Yeah.
I'm going to name the finalists for that award on Monday. Of course, Dakota Hudson is on that list.
What a turnaround season. If you missed Dakota Hudson this year, I mean, he was a guy throughout his career, freshman year, sophomore year here at Mississippi State, pretty much just a reliever. Only logged 34 innings going into this year in his entire career at Mississippi State. And those innings were just kind of okay. 34 innings pitched, 42 hits his first 2 years, 19 walks, a little bit of a control problem, but he could always strike you out. 36 strikeouts in 34. Well, turned into a different person in summer ball last year. He really turned into an animal on the mound. He kind of figured it out. And he grew in his body, and his stuff got really good. The fastball went up a few ticks, and then he developed the cut fastball in summer ball last year. When he came back to state from summer ball, he was a totally different pitcher.
I mentioned before, the last couple of outings for Hudson, you know, lost to LSU, no decision against Southeast Missouri. But the previous 5, 2 complete games, 34 strikeouts and 5 wins, all against conference opponents. The 1-0. Pop up. Right fielder Jake Mangum is there. He's battling the sun a little bit, especially in right field for the next hour or so.
Well, that's kind of how Dakota Hudson's season's been a little bit this year. If you go back to the first 6 weeks in college baseball, I don't know if there was a better pitcher in college baseball. Then he kind of hit a little stretch there for 4 starts in a row against some really good competition. You know, against LSU and Texas A&M and those kind of teams where he, you know, for 4 straight starts, you know, he was just kind of okay, didn't do real well. But then he really picked it up, as you mentioned. Then his last start wasn't that good, but that's an amazing turnaround. And how about the innings he's logged? And, you know, when you log that many innings after not throwing that much in your career, you know, you're going to hit those dead-on phases during the season where the ball just doesn't come out of your hand as, you know, as good as it does when, you know, early in the year when things are feeling good and your body's fresh. Because let's be honest, this time of the year, there's not many fresh pitchers out there. I mean, you don't have quite the stuff. You don't have, the ball doesn't come out quite as good as it did, you know, back when you're talking about in April. But still, Dakota Hudson's stuff is really good. And certainly being the last pick of the first round, a lot of people thought his stuff was really good.
Oh, it's the best starting pitching Cohen has had, and he'll tell you that since he's been here. And I mean, he's had guys like Chris Stratton and Ross Mitchell, among others. But Austin Sexton, his junior right-hander, 8-3, number 2 starter all year. Zach Houston, his junior right-hander, he's won his last 3 appearances. He's really come on.
That's the guy for me that's been the big difference for Mississippi State here down the stretch. I mean, we knew Sexton could pitch. He was in the rotation last year. You know, and you thought that Hudson would be elevated to the rotation. He was, but Zach Houston pretty much a reliever all year long, but a junior. And again, kind of the same road that Dakota Hudson took his first 2 years. He didn't pitch much as a starter, but Zach Houston has been giant for Mississippi State. Got a 1.63 ERA. He's pitched a couple of big games for State here down the stretch as well. So that Mississippi State, though, I mean, we talked about this. They have 10 pitchers on that roster that have logged more than 20 innings throughout the year. That's very unusual. It tells me they have a really deep and talented staff.
Hudson's behind here, 3-0 to Rivas. First 3-ball count for Dakota.
We talked about Mississippi State's offense. It speaks for itself, the improvement made last year than this year. But the ERA, if you go look at the ERA, it's 1.2 runs a game better this year than what it was last year. And that equally has been the reason why Mississippi State turned its season around from this year to last year.
Rivas walks. So now Arizona has 2 on with Ryan Aguilar, the cleanup man, coming up. There's Wes Johnson, the Mississippi State pitching coach in his first season with the Bulldogs, and he may be thinking about a trip out to the mound.
Yeah, it's hot. Humidity's up a little bit, and so Wes Johnson go out and just have a little talk with Dakota. Maybe he's picking up something mechanically wrong that he was doing wrong. And it's kind of what Dakota can do from time to time. He can roll along and then throw 4 straight balls. You know, so you got to get him back in it mechanically.
For more coverage of the Division I baseball tournament and interactive brackets, go to ncaa.com. John Cohen hired Wes Johnson, taking him away from Dallas Baptist. He was there the last 4 years. And it seems like this pitching staff, they have really responded to what Wes Johnson is preaching.
Oh, no doubt. Wes Johnson's done an outstanding job. But I tell you what, you're going to see one of the more talented pitching staffs in the country, because they can go down to that bullpen and they can get some guys coming in, you know, Rigby and, of course, Humphreys and Vance Tatum and Kilbro, some other guys down there, Blake Smith, that really bring in big-time arms. And I tell you, John Cohen's bunch out of that bullpen, he can match you up, too. He can put lefties in there and righties in some big-time situations. So it's a solid team. It's a solid pitching staff, and it's a team that's really, really, you know, when you talk about a team that, it's amazing to me. You play 10 series in the SEC every year. They win 1 last year. They lose 9. This year, it's a total turnaround. You win 9 and only lose 1. I mean, that's an amazing turnaround. That is almost impossible to do.
Here's Aguilar now. Takes a strike at the knees.
Now, you see the pitch that Hudson comes back to. We talked about that cutter. When he gets in trouble, you can almost count on it. He gets strike 1. Likes to run that cut fastball inside on the hands of left-handed hitters.
2 on, 2 out. It's hit well toward the gap, right center, but Robson covers a lot of ground out there. And Dakota Hudson works out of a jam again. We played 2.5 here at Starkville. Still scoreless. This week on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, it's a first-ever doubleheader from the seats. Dave Fleming, Dallas Braden, and Eduardo Perez from Clemente Wall at PNC Park for the Cards and Pirates at 5 Eastern. Then at 8:30, Dan Shulman, Aaron Boone, and Jess Mendoza call the Dodgers-Giants above the right field wall at AT&T Park. And we've had broadcasts from the seats here. I mean, Gabe Gross, who's in studio tonight, he was in right field at the Tiki Lounge there just a few weeks ago. He's jealous of us tonight.
Oh, big time.
Because I know he left his mark out there.
I have a feeling we're going to end up out there at some point.
This weekend?
Oh, yeah.
You think we can pull that off? I mean, there's a lot of hoops to jump through to do that. I don't know if our cable will run that far. But I'm in if you can pull it off. Bouncing ball for Jake Mangum. That's what he's been doing all year. Setting the table for the Bulldogs.
Well, it's a simple swing. It's a sweet swing. It's not a powerful swing, but it's a swing that doesn't miss very often. He doesn't walk much, but he doesn't strike out much either. And we've seen Jake Mangum throughout the year hit pretty much every kind of pitch, whether it's been fastball, breaking ball, changeup, whatever it's been. He seems to always put the barrel on it. And when he does, it seems to always find the outfield grass.
Smell it up here. So Mangum's on. And it brings up Jack Kruger, who had an infield single his first time up. One of 2 Mississippi State hits here tonight. Mangum was named winner of the Ferris Trophy this year, the best college player in Mississippi. That is a big honor in this state. It's amazing to think that he started his season, his career, 0-8 at the plate. I mean,
yeah, I mean, he
didn't have a hit for the first 4 or 5 games, and now look.
But they knew. I mean, the talent was off the hook. I mean, he was a 3-time perfect game All-American, 2-time Louisville Slugger All-American out of high school coming in. So they knew potentially. I don't think anybody thought that he'd lead the SEC in hitting this year as a freshman. But they knew he was going to be a good player one day. Probably thought it was going to be down the road. Didn't think he would take off like he has. But my goodness. Robson gets hurt in center field. Jake Mangum gets inserted early in the season in center field. And special things started to happen. Now, he's fast, he can run, but really, you know, he's learning how to steal bases right now. Only 6 stolen bases out of 7 attempts to this point. You got to think, once he gets a little bit better at that, and there's not much he's got to improve on his game, but that's one of the things I know that he wants to improve on. Mississippi State not known. John Cohen's not going to steal a ton of bases.
Swung on short left field. Boyd on the grass will make the catch for the first out as Kruger is retired. Mangum, the son of a great All-American at Alabama defensive back. His dad John played 9 seasons in the NFL with the Bears. He was talking with him. His dad never pushed football on him. It was always baseball.
Yeah. But he plays baseball with a football mentality. Yeah. You can see that. I mean, he is wide open. He's got a big motor, and it never stops. You know, and you can tell he is wide open from the time he crosses the white line to the 9th inning. And you love to have those kind of guys on your team. You know, the kind of guys that are wide open every time. And that's Jake Mangum. And the team has really taken on the type of identity that he has this year. It's a gritty bunch.
Nathaniel Lowe hit .417 in the regional last week. Walked his first time up. Here's another guy who was fit right in and helped make a difference over last year for Mississippi State. The junior college transfer played at St. John's River in Florida last year. Before that, he was at Mercer playing D1. The 0-1. Ground ball to the second baseman. Could end the inning. Raymer to Boyd to first. The throw is high. Nearly goes into the Arizona dugout. So the inning will continue for Mississippi State. There are 2 down. We'll bring up Collins again.
Arizona's defense has been pretty good all year long. Pretty good pitch. You see the pitch running away, and of course Lowe gets on top of it. Raymer over to Boyd, but Boyd throws a little bit wide right there, and luckily that ball stayed. It almost went into the dugout. Of course, if it goes in the dugout, Lowe would be at second right now.
Collins flew out to right. He's 0 for 1. Collins, who said before, was an all-SEC catcher a couple of years ago. Line drive to left. That's going to be in the corner. Off the wall. Lowe is going to hold at third. It's a double for Gavin Collins. And Mississippi State in business here with 2 outs.
Well, you know Gavin Collins has some pop. He leads Mississippi State with 10 home runs. He gets the ball kind of left right in the middle of the plate. He didn't miss it. Pulls the hands in and drops the barrel, and then it's a line drive. That ball would have had any height at all. It was certainly hard enough to get out of here. Stays in the ballpark. Good job by Rivas. The left fielder quickly gets it into the relay. Boyd, one hops it right there. Keeps Mississippi State runners now at second and third, but 2 out.
Jacob Robson. Backhanded by Salazar.
Yeah, that's a bad miss by Dalbec right there. You can see Salazar had set up more down and away on the outside corner, and that ball's pulled by Dalbec kind of down and in. Unfortunately, Salazar was able to keep that in front. That could have been a wild pitch, and Mississippi State could have scored the first run there, but a good job by Salazar keeping that ball in front. This is where Mississippi State is beating, folks, right here. 2 outs with runners in scoring position. This is where they've been so good this year.
Popped up straight back. John Cohen, Tuscaloosa, Alabama native. Was an all-conference outfielder here in Starkville in 1990. He has seen this program as a player, as a coach, The 1-1. Down in the turf. Dalbec has lived dangerously here the first few innings.
Well, both pitchers have had to pitch out of some jams. Nobody's been really clean yet, you know, but they've battled, they've competed, and they found a way to elevate their game, and they've needed to keep putting zeros up on the scoreboard. Here, Bobby Dalbec again in one of those tight situations.
The 2-1. Left over the middle, but pounded into the ground. Aguilar late covering is Dalbec. He did get there in time. Boy, Robson made that a close play. And Arizona's out of the inning.
Well, you talk about Jacob Robson. You know he could run. It's a quick flip from Aguilar to Dalbec, just barely covered, and that is bang, bang, as close as it gets over at first base. Nothing going to the fourth.
Brendan Fitzgerald back in studio. Over on ESPNU, Boston College and Miami is underway. So flip to ESPNU to keep up to date on that one. Clay, back to you.
All right, thanks, Brendan. Hopefully that's the only rain delay of the entire weekend. We're back here in Starkville, where it's certainly not raining. It's very hot. He's Ben McDonald. I'm Clay Matthew. Here we go to the fourth inning. Arizona 0 for 5 with runners in scoring position. Dakota Hudson now ready to start his fourth inning of work. Winner of this Super Regional heads to Omaha. The College World Series will start a week from tomorrow. Manajevic, Lewis, Salazar, 5, 6, and 7 for the Cats. The only team left standing from the Pac-12. Big swing and a miss. Manajevic, a strikeout victim his first time up. Ball and a strike here. You know, the Pac was down this year, Ben, but key injuries around the league, and the draft hit it really hard last year. So people have to understand that. That's foul back 1-2. I mean, it's just not like they forgot how to play baseball in the Pac-12. There were some contributing factors.
Oh, yeah. Injuries mostly, you know, and that's tough because everybody kept saying, well, the Pac-12's down this year, but, you know, so many guys got hurt, and not just guys. I'm talking about real dudes, like really good pitchers and aces of staffs, and that makes a big difference when you start losing Friday night guys.
Arizona, as you mentioned, picked 9th out of the 11 teams in the Pac-12 in the preseason. The fall last year was bumpy, new head coach and all. They hit the ground running in the spring. They won 2 of 3 at Rice on opening weekend. And Jay Johnson knew right then that this team had a chance to get to the NCAA tournament. Ground ball right side, and it's going to leak on through for a leadoff hit for Manajevic. Johnson getting married after the season. Was talking to him in the lobby this morning. His fiancee Maureen. And congratulations to the two of them. They haven't set a date yet. They don't know when the season's going to be over. That's going to play a big part on when they can set the date.
Well, what a first year he's had at Arizona. Of course, a coach is no stranger to success. I mean, you talked about what he did over the Mountain West Conference. Won 72 games his first 2 seasons at Nevada.
Manajevic over at first. A couple of stolen bases on the year. Arizona has the leadoff man for the 3rd time in 4 innings.
And Arizona will run. I mean, that's part of their game. There's 73 stolen bases, led the Pac-12 this year. So certainly some bunting, some hit and runs, and taking a base occasionally. Dakota Hudson, a big guy. Sometimes it takes him a while to unwind and get that ball to home plate.
We haven't seen Arizona execute a successful sacrifice yet, but it's not for a lack of trying. Kyle Lewis up there, grounded out to the first baseman his first time up.
That's really a surprise. That's the 3rd time they've tried to get a bunt down, which is a huge part of their game. You can see a little bit of frustration on head coach Jay Johnson's face right there. That's something that they really do well and certainly practice as much as anybody is getting those bunts down. And Arizona's had some leadoff guys on, some opportunities to move some guys, and have not been able to do it yet.
Lewis squares around again. This time he gets it in play, but it bounces foul. They just can't buy a sacrifice. Now 1-2 to Lewis. And we'll see what Johnson decides to do with the hitter.
But it seemed like small things. And, you know, a lot of people don't like to practice bunts. We want to see how far we can hit it and how hard we can throw it, because those are the big, sexy things to do in baseball, right? But the simple things, sometimes being able to turn a double play instead of fumbling, where it doesn't show up as an error if you get the first out, but you should have got the second out. And the simple things of putting a bunt on the ground, which is a lot harder said than done. I understand that, but it's a game of baseball. It's what wins games is little things, especially in postseason.
Check on Matajevic. He's back diving. And Arizona, they do it station to station way. Just 23 homers on the year.
Yeah, they're not going to blow it out of the ballpark. And they will bunt. I mean, you got to keep the eyes. You see the third baseman, Collins from Mississippi State. He's still expecting bunt even with 2 strikes.
Time call.
This is where Mississippi State begins to slow the game down just a little bit. A lot of holds. That's a play where you got a hold from the catcher going to the pitcher to hold the baseball. You're just going to sit there and hold it in your stretch position until the batter calls timeout. It's all about upsetting the rhythm if you can. And there's an attempt at a bunt again with 2 strikes and not able to get it down 3 times in a row now.
So Lewis is the 3rd strikeout victim for Hudson as Johnson shakes his head. They gambled and they come up empty.
Yeah, but that's when you got to be confident at the plate to pull the bat back. You only have to bunt it if it's a strike, and that ball was clearly down out of the strike zone, but still there was an attempted ball bunted by Lewis, and if you can't get it down, you foul tip it with 2 strikes, it goes down as a strikeout.
So the execution for Arizona so far tonight has been a tick or 2 off. Here's Cesar Salazar again, a single his first time up. He's 1 for 1. After a breaking ball, strike 1. Rock solid freshman behind the plate. Came to the all-regional team last week. He started 4 games in 30 hours last week behind the plate.
Arizona came from the Lafayette regional where all the rain was.
In the turf. Kruger comes up throwing. They got him by a mile. Matajevic was slow to take off, and Kruger nailed it. 2 down.
I think Matajevic was delayed steal right here. You try to catch him sleeping. That or he tried to read down, maybe down angle, and thought he was going to take off and get the bag. But whatever the case was, Kruger came up and threw a rocket to the shortstop, and that's a no contest, not even close on that play. So all of a sudden, Arizona, who's been so good as of late, doing all the little things right, it's not been that good. Kind of sloppy for them. Not as far as making errors, but as far as execution, getting some bunts down, getting thrown out on the bases. Because when you go back and look at it, if they lose this ball game, they're going to go back to the 1st, the 3rd, and the 4th inning where they got the leadoff guy on in each of those 3 innings, and doesn't appear as they're going to be able to push anything across.
And now Hudson can walk to the dugout unscathed. Back-to-back strikeouts in the 4th. Mississippi State coming back up in a scoreless game.
Brendan Fitzgerald with an update from Coral Gables. Michael Strem took 2 bases on an errant throw from a pitcher in a pickoff attempt. Nick Shortino for Boston College. Small balling him home, and the Eagles have a 1-0 lead. Play, back to you.
All right, Brendan, thanks very much. How about Boston College? First super appearance for the Eagles. Here's the other side of the bracket. Texas Tech Having another great year, trying to get to Omaha for the second time in 3 years. Louisville, UC Santa Barbara. They're going to start tomorrow, noon Eastern, on ESPN2. Of course, in Louisville today, the funeral for Muhammad Ali. So then, Super will get underway tomorrow. Good thing, too, to help people forget about losing the champ this week.
That's right.
Rooker, Humphreys, Gridley, 6, 7, and 8 for Mississippi State. We are scoreless in game 1 of this Super Regional here in Starkville. It is packed to the gills on this hot Friday night. At some point later tonight, we're going to get the attendance figures, and we may see a record fall. Ground ball left side, and that's another foul. Rooker, his first time up. Threw out to the left fielder. Mississippi State has made 9 College World Series appearances. The last time, 2013. And they finished runner-up to UCLA out of the Pac-12.
Yep, that was the year Mississippi State went into Virginia.
Yeah, you and I were there.
That's right.
That's Super.
They upset Virginia and home. That was the days of Big Wes Ray at first base. And
he's here tonight.
he's out in the left field lounge somewhere, I promise you.
And another walk for Dalbec. And Rooker is on to start the 4th inning. Interestingly, that was the last time that the Pac-12 had a team in Omaha the year UCLA won it in 2013. Dalbec, who's had to work around base runners every inning, has to face Reed Humphreys with a man on and nobody out.
When you put leadoff batters on against Mississippi State, they're going to get you sooner or later. They're just too good. There's too much depth in lineup. And while both pitchers have done a really nice job of elevating their game when they've needed to in some big situations and made some big pitches.
Sliced foul.
Both of these offenses are really good. And as a pitcher, I always tell my young pitchers is the first batter of every inning is the most important batter, because if you can get the leadoff out of every inning, the chance of the other team scoring goes way down. When that first guy gets on base, typically right at about 50% of the time, he is going to score, and both teams have found a way to work out of some jams early.
Talking about getting that first out of the inning. How about getting game 1 of the Super Regional? The winner of game 1 wins the Super almost 80% of the time, going back to the first year of this format in 1999. So tonight is critical for both of these teams.
That's a gigantic number, you know, and just to be able to host, we talked about the numbers and why you want to work so hard to be a national seed every year, because just being a national seed alone, that's a rocket in the stands. Just being a national seed alone, when you get to host everything at home, including your regional and your Super Regional, over 70% of the time you get to advance by doing that. And that's why it's so important to be one of those top 8 national seeds. And Mississippi State has done that this year for the first time in program history. They are a national seed.
2 strikes to Reed Humphreys. We might see later on tonight on the mound. Third base, DH, left field, closer. Humphreys has done a little bit of everything for Mississippi State.
Oh, and I'm going to tell you, when he comes in, he's coming in with some real stuff. I mean, you'll see a fastball at 96, at 97 miles an hour jogging in from left field. Like, it's real.
His last save was May 20th in the Arkansas series. Also his last appearance. He hasn't pitched in almost 3 weeks, so he's probably chomping at the bit to get a chance here tonight. 0-2 to Humphreys. Swung out and missed. Dalbec gets out number 1 via the strikeout. That's his second tonight.
So a couple of fastballs in, speeds the bat up, gets Humphrey thinking about that fastball that's been 90-92. Then takes a little bit off and spins a breaking ball. That's just a perfect pitcher's pitch on an 0-2 type count. Starts in the zone, looks just like a fastball for about 58 of the 60 feet 6 inches, and then all of a sudden the bottom falls out of it.
Here's Ryan Gridley, who was hit by a pitch from Dalbec his first time up. 284 hitter, a couple of homers, 32 runs batted in. And defensively, he has done a great job at short this year. They think that he could be as good as Adam Frazier, who was on that 2013 College World Series team before it's all said and done.
And that's a mouthful.
Yes, it is.
Look, Adam Frazier was as good as there was.
And he's now in the Pirates system.
Right. And that was the year that Mississippi State led the entire country in double plays turn for a while. Fell off right at the end of the season, but still they were one of the top double play combinations, turned more than anybody that year.
So his defense is fine. They're working on his bat still, but his average up about 40 points over last year. As Dalbec continues to keep an eye on Rooker.
Well, when you got an offense like Mississippi State's had all year with Mangum and Kruger and Lowe and Collins and the boys Robson, that he doesn't have to hit 300 or 350 as long as he can play a solid defense and contribute a little bit where he can offensively. That's all he needs to do right now.
Runner goes on, hit him again. Gridley takes one on the body for the second straight at bat. 2 on, 1 out for Mississippi State here in the 4th, and I think Cesar Salazar got hit too.
Yeah, I think he got it on the ricochet. So the ball gets Gridley first, and then ricochets, it appears, and gets Salazar. You talk about tough. This is a fastball in. See, the fastball wants it in, comes too far in. Oh, right off the shoulder or the neck area. So it goes off the elbow guard of Gridley, and watch where it hits the catcher Salazar. Ooh, that's right in the neck.
Oof.
You talk about hurt.
Again, he caught just about every inning last weekend, including 4 games in 30 hours for Arizona, who's trying to dig out after losing game 2 of that regional last week. I mean, he worked hard last week in the heat and the rain.
Yeah, they've not been home. They went straight from Lafayette, Louisiana, and just hopped on the bus and drove over to Starkville, Mississippi, which they don't mind doing. That means you're still playing when most aren't.
And now Dave Lawn, the pitching coach, comes out for the 2nd time today. Dave was at Nevada with Johnson, also at Cal and USC.
We got to visit with him for a while yesterday. Got a lot of good stories. He's coached some good ones in his day.
He was actually offered the job at Nevada, but turned it down so he could stay with Coach Johnson.
Yeah.
As they talk, we're going to remind you tonight after Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Don't miss Sports Center at night with Bucci Anderson and Van Pelt. A full recap of the Muhammad Ali funeral, Euro 2016, and MLB highlights, and a complete breakdown of Game 4. Sports Center at night on ESPN, also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app. So Bobby Dalbec, where is he at? Because again, we talked about it. Ben, he hasn't been a starter all year. He's been basically a bullpen guy. He's in the 4th inning now at 54 pitches, and nothing has come easy for him.
No, it hasn't. I mean, but he's made some big pitches when he's needed to. That's been the strange thing. He's not been as sharp as we've seen him in the past. But when he's needed to make some pitches, he's been able to do it. And if you look at his 4 starts, he only had 4 starts come in. He's averaged over 7 innings to start for his 4 starts. So he's used to going deep in the ball game. But he's been impressive, the fact he's been able to make some pitches when he's needed to, and that's been a big difference for him. The ability to throw the fastball or the changeup in fastball counts, and his breaking ball has been the difference for him, because Mississippi State, a very good hitting fastball team. While Dalbec hadn't been extremely sharp, he's been able to keep Mississippi State off balance with some off-speed pitches in plus counts, fastball counts.
He got Holland swinging in the 2nd inning. The 0-1. To medium deep center field. Oliva is there. Runner from second. Rooker tags, and he'll get to third base. He's at the corners now. 2 outs and back to the top of the order in Mangum.
There's Dalbec again getting a big out on a breaking ball. And again, he's just 1 out away from pitching out of yet another jam. He'll have to do it against the SEC's best hitter this year. And the SEC best freshman as well, Jake Mangum.
Had a hitters last time up. He's 1 for 2. A switch hitter. Third-team All-American, has a chance to put Mississippi State ahead with a 2-out base hit here in the 4th.
Well, Mangum's a switch hitter, obviously, but a much better hitter against right-handed pitching. He's batted .455 this year against right-handers and .286 versus left-handed. Whenever you get an opportunity if you're pitching against Mangum, you'd like to turn him around to the right side if you could.
Offers at the first pitch and fouls it. The Arizona dugout.
When you look at Mangum's numbers, they're pretty amazing. Not talking about the batting average, but for a leadoff guy, you expect your leadoff guy to walk more than 14 times. He's only walked 14 times all year, but having said that, he's only struck out 17 times all year long. That's 196 at bat. So it's really a weird kind of number for Jake Mangum to be a leadoff guy. He's very aggressive.
He's behind in the count here, 0-2.
He's not your typical leadoff guy that's going to go up there and work a lot of pitches and take and try to get the 2 strikes and see what the pitcher's got. He's up there hacking. That's what he's going to do.
Mangum .439 this season with runners in scoring position. That's a combined left and right side of the plate. Dave Lawn calls all of the pitches for Arizona from the dugout. We'll see what we come up with here on the 0-2 to Mangum. Breaking ball, got him. And Mississippi State has left 7 on in the first 4 innings. Can't imagine that's going to make John Cohen all that happy. We're going to talk to the skipper when we come back to Starkville. We've got a scoreless game as we go to the 5th here in Game 1 of the Super Regional in Starkville. Presented by Capital One. Alongside Ben McDonald, I play advocate. Mississippi State head coach John Cohen joins us now from outside the dugout. Bobby Dalbec on the mound for Arizona. What has been the approach against him? How do you start to get something going offensively?
Yeah, you know, he's done a pretty good job of pitching in and out of some trouble. We've had base runners. You know, we just need to take that really good, mature swing, get on top of the baseball when we need to.
Coach, what do you think about Dakota Hudson? Looks like he's been pretty good. He's not been as sharp maybe if we've seen him in the past, but I tell you what, like a lot of good ones, he's been able to elevate his game and make some pitches when he's needed to.
Yeah, I think so, Ben. You know, he's, you know, his slider and his cut fastball, when those 2 things are 2 separate pitches, and when he gives those guys 2 different looks, I think it really helps with his fastball.
Hey, John, congratulations on a great atmosphere here in Starkville. This is terrific.
Thank you so much.
There goes John Cohen, head coach of Mississippi State, who, interestingly enough, was hired by the current Arizona athletic director, Greg Byrne. You saw the numbers on Hudson, who starts beginning off with a strike to Oliva.
Yeah, a lot of breaking balls, and I think Coach nailed it right there. It's what we've seen, too. He's 2 different breaking balls, 2 different looks. A short, tight breaking ball, and then a hard cutter or a bigger looper ball that we've seen more against a right-handed hitter. So he's been able to keep Arizona off balance with lots of different speeds and pitches.
Gavin Collins, who's had his issues in the field at times this year, fields that ground ball cleanly. Jared Oliva's out number 1 here in the 5th.
Dakota Hudson only at 53 pitches, so really the pitch count is really good for him. Threw 77 pitches his last time out. Wasn't a great start for him, but certainly well rested. And I only expect him to get better from here.
Lewis Boyd a double his first time up. And then a bad base running decision. He was hung up between 2nd and 3rd and was the first out of the 3rd inning for the Wildcats. Tries to bunt his way on. He offered. That's strike 2.
Back-to-back breaking balls. Boyd didn't think he offered this, thought he got it back. Yeah, it looked like that bat was hung out there just a little bit too long. Now Hudson up 0-2. Lots of options. High fastball. He can bounce a breaking ball.
Decides to waste that breaking pitch away. 1-2. Lewis Boyd from Vancouver, British Columbia, of course, played hockey growing up, played goaltender. Like all Canadians, mourning the loss of Mr. Hockey today, Gordie Howe. Sure, Jacob Robson from Mississippi State also mourning the loss of one of the greats in that sport. The 2-2. Full count here to Lewis Boyd, the 9-man in the Arizona order.
Yeah, Dakota Hudson got up 0-2 to Boyd. 2 breaking balls way off the outside corner. Fastball in. Now it's 3-2. That was a good pitch. You see Hudson up to 95 miles an hour on that fastball. That's what I like about Dakota Hudson. I mean, he's got a big arm. And for me, sometimes he may throw maybe a few too many breaking balls for me, because when you see an arm like that, I want to see him throw more fastballs. But sometimes you got to go to the breaking ball, the all-speed pitches, and some big jams. That's what he's had to do today.
Gets him on the 7th pitch of the at-bat.
Does it again. Ends up finishing with a 3-2 breaking ball. That's that hard cut fastball or hard slider, whatever you want to call it. It looks like a fastball all the way there. Then watch the cut right at the end. And as a hitter, you got to commit to get that ball way out in front of home plate. When you commit to get it and it's gone, and that's the thing about a cut fastball. A lot of hitters hit off spin, and they see an unusual spin. That cut fastball a lot of times spins almost like a 4-seam fastball, so you don't quite pick it up until the very end. And Mariano Rivera with the Yankees was a master of it. You know, it looked like just a regular 4-seam fastball coming, and those lefties would go to get it. They'd go to get it, and the bat would explode into 1,000 pieces. He had one of the best cut fastballs there was.
Raymer 1 for 2 with the double. That's the thing about Dakota Hudson. You look at the numbers, you know that he's the ace pitcher for the team that wins the SEC. You think, okay, he's got to have overpowering stuff, and that's not necessarily the case.
Yeah. And
at times he does.
And it's hard to say that when you see 95 on the radar gun, but you know, that's the truth. He's more of a polished pitcher is what I call him. You know, I was surprised he went as late as he did, although he was a first runner, but I think he's going to be a fast mover up the big league ladder. There's no doubt in my mind. And I was really shocked that Logan Shore at Florida went in the 2nd round, and Sheffield at Vanderbilt too went in the 2nd round, because these are guys I think that are going to be quick movers and will certainly pitch in the big leagues one day.
2-1. That's even. The top college pitcher taken in the draft yesterday, A.J. Puck of Florida, 6th overall to the A's. Shore also to the A's at number 47.
Right.
2-2. Got him on the breaking ball, and Raymer knew it. That's the first 1-2-3 inning of the night.
Take a look at this breaking ball. You see the catcher, Kruger, wants it on the outside corner. Ball delivered perfectly. Backdoor breaking ball. Can't do it any better than that.
We'll talk to Jay Johnson on the backside of this timeout. Welcome back to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Sold out crowd here in Starkville, Mississippi. We go to the bottom of the 5th in a scoreless game. Bobby Dalbec now ready to work into the 5th for Arizona. We're talking with his head coach now, Jay Johnson. And Jay, you decided to go with Bobby in game 1 of the Super here tonight, even though he's been mostly a reliever for you. What told you to go with your right hand?
Well, these guys match up very well against left-handed pitchers. We're in a little bit of an interesting spot where we're working on 3 and 4 days rest with all of our pitchers going doubleheader Sunday, doubleheader Monday. We felt like he was the freshest. We felt like he matched up the best, and he's grinding through it pretty good for us right now.
Coach, what do you think about this college baseball environment here at Duty Noble Field?
It's exactly how it should be. It's awesome to be here. I can't think of anywhere else on the planet I'd rather be right now.
Hey, Coach, thanks for
guys.
talking with us. Congratulations, too, on the upcoming marriage. All right, here we go. Bottom of the 5th inning. Jack Kruger, Nathaniel Lowe, Gavin Collins, 2, 3, and 4. They are hoping for a late summer wedding, I'm sure. The later, the better. That means that means it's going to be a long run into Omaha. Kruger, an infield single his first time up, popped up to the shortstop his second time around. Strike one.
Dalbec's fastball still good, up to 91 miles an hour, still showing you a good breaking ball. And what we thought would be his best pitch really has been his best pitch in the biggest situation. A couple 3-2 changeups with runners in scoring position, and he's gotten some weak outs out of it. And remember, Dalbec was drafted today, not as a pitcher, but as a hitter. He shows you what kind of athlete he is. He's pretty much put goose eggs up every inning against one of the not only best offenses in the SEC, but one of the best offenses in the country.
It's tagged pretty good to left center, but Rivas is going to come over and make the catch for the first out of the 5th. Yeah, Bobby Dalbec, freshman All-American 2 years ago at Arizona, second-team All-American last year. Hit 10 home runs for Team USA last summer, 12 in the Cape. Now, he's got great power, great potential with the bat. And like you said, it's the pitching tonight, though, that Arizona needs.
Oh, and if you watch him take batting practice, he's as impressive as anybody in the country. You know, and really, when the season started, again, he's not had a great year offensively from what they thought he would have, because he burnt the Cape up last summer. I mean, really burned it up and did well. 6 homers this year, batting average not quite to 300. But he potentially could have been a late first, early second round pick, but fell down a little bit. But still, what a good athlete he is.
Going the opposite way is Nathaniel Lowe. This ball's hit deep and on the warning track. Rivas makes the catch. So 2 fly ball outs here for Mississippi State.
And Dalbec's only at 68 pitches. So both these pitchers, while they've been in some jams, and both offenses have had opportunities. You see Lowe, and I mean, he just missed one. Lowe's a big old guy. Ball jumping pretty good. He realized, you see Dalbec not very pleased with the location of that pitch. That ball's up in the zone. With a guy like Lowe's at the plate, you can't afford to miss up in the zone very often, because he can make one disappear quickly.
Collins doubled off Dalbec in the 3rd. And he was left stranded. Mississippi State has had opportunities every inning, but haven't been able to capitalize. They've left 7 runners on.
No, I've been real impressed with both pitchers. It's been a well-pitched game. Maybe not as sharp as we've seen maybe either one of them all year long, but the important thing for me, and when I look at a pitcher and I grade a pitcher, I look, what does he do when it means the most? When runners are in scoring position and 2 out, how can he elevate his game? And the ones that can elevate and seem to make good pitches, those are the ones you really like. And both these pitchers tonight, both Dakota Hudson and Bobby Dalbec, have found ways in the biggest parts of the game to elevate their game and get some big outs.
But one of the few squared up balls Mississippi State has had tonight came from this guy. And Collins takes a strike. It's 2-2.
Now I think Dakota Hudson is going to look back, you know, and realize that he was probably pretty fortunate, because 2 or 3 times Arizona tried to get the bunt down. Leadoff guy gets on. Twice they let off with doubles and couldn't move a guy. So Hudson, you know, maybe caught a break here or there because Arizona couldn't execute getting some bunts down, which has really been one of their strong points all year long. But still, Hudson's been really good as well.
Hit well to the shortstop. That's the first 1-2-3 inning for Dalbec. It's down to 12 pitches. We have played 5 here in Starkville, Mississippi. Still scoreless.
Big 12 regular season champs Texas Tech getting their Super Regional underway in just about 20 minutes. Texas Tech, East Carolina on ESPN News. Clay, back to you.
All right, Brendan, thanks very much. And also coming up later tonight, Texas A&M and TCU in the College Station Super Regional. And That, of course, a rematch of last year's Super. 2 of those games a year ago in Fort Worth went extra innings, including the deciding game that TCU won in the 16th. What can those 2 programs do for an on-time?
I don't know. You got to think that A&M is back for vengeance there at Bluebell Park, where they're as good as anybody at the country. So you know they're looking to repay the favor and get to the College World Series, because most folks thought Texas A&M was a World Series team last year. They were that good. But TCU had other plans, and they faced A&M late in the season.
Comes back to what we were talking about before. You get that super seed, it makes a big difference. I think home field advantage was the difference last year, and now A&M's got the power.
Especially if you got to go to a game 3. You know, I think it's really the difference.
That sliced down the line off the bat of Zach Gibbons, who's 0 for 2.
But there's no doubt, when you have this kind of environment that you have here, you can only think that it has a big advantage.
With that said, Arizona doing a fine job here playing with Mississippi State on their home field.
Well, that's a dangerous thing about facing Arizona, is like they're playing with house money right now. Like they weren't supposed to be here, so the expectations to win really aren't there. They're kind of the underdog everywhere they go. Picked to finish 9th in the Pac-12, but yet they finished 3rd and really got it going toward the end of the season, really playing well, winning 10 of their last 11 ball games. And here they are in this environment and not intimidated at all.
And on the hands, jam shot. Hollins fields that bouncing ball that took a weird hop. It's the first out of the 6th inning.
Well, that ball had plenty of English on it. The reason is look how far inside that Dakota Hudson gets this fastball right in on the hands. And you see Gibbons inside outs it, and right there it takes some funny hops because of the English it's on the baseball. Watch this right there, and then watch this second hop. See it scoot to the right? I promise you, if that was some lumber, that bat would be in many pieces right now.
One out for Rivas. He's 0 for 1 with a walk. That 1-2 punch at the top of the Arizona order, Raymer and Gibbons, has accounted for nearly 200 hits this year. 1 for 6 now tonight with a couple of strikeouts.
That's been the key for Dakota Hudson, because the first 2 guys in this lineup for Arizona, Raymer and Gibbons, you mentioned, as good as anybody in the country. They really set the table for this offense. It's been above average offense all year long. And you keep them off the bases, you got a chance. That's what I like about Dakota Hudson. Here we are into the 6th inning, and he's still running it up there at 95 miles an hour.
Yeah, they had some stank out.
Oh, yeah, he's a horse. Make no mistake about it. He can just control a ball game.
1-2 is smacked into right field. 1 out base hit for Rivas. He's on base for the 2nd time now. And Aguilar comes up. 5th hit tonight for Arizona.
Dakota Hudson's been ahead in the count with a head right here. This is not the pitch he wanted to throw. You see, he's ahead, no balls in 1 strike. He tries a backdoor breaking ball, maybe to catch the outside corner, but that ball clearly left thigh high right in the center of the plate.
Coach, on. CL.
Aguilar, the team's home run leader with 7 on the year. He's 0 for 2. Yeah, 7 is the team high. Again, this team doesn't club it out of the ballpark much. Sends it down the line, foul the other way. Home runs, though, in this national tournament, up 67% over a year ago after the first weekend. 174 homers last year.
Yeah.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think the new baseballs, like to put it in play last year, has made a big difference on that as well. And I think that's the biggest thing for me is the baseballs. It's hard to say why there's that many more from last year.
It's a weak ground ball. It's going to be a tough double play turn. They're only going to get 1. 2 down, and that'll bring up Matajevic. Yeah, the 174 homers, the most since the BB Corps bats were introduced in 2011. The flat seam baseballs came into play last year, so the homers came up. But what an explosion this year. Do you think the balance is about right now, though, Ben?
I think so. I mean, nobody thought last year with the new baseballs, trying to put more offense into the game, nobody thought the pitchers would adapt to the baseball, too. But we're on pace this year to strike out more guys ever, the pitchers are, than in the aluminum bat era. So that's been a weird thing. It's great for college baseball. You're seeing more home runs, which I think is more fair now. If you barrel a ball up and you're a pretty big guy with some bat speed, it should go out of the ballpark, whereas a few years ago it didn't because of the BB Core bats. But the cool thing is the pitchers have adapted to the baseball too, and they really like it. They can spin it and sink it and move it a little bit better too. So you're seeing strikeouts go up too, you know, and so it's good if you're a fan of the strikeout and the pitching. It's there for you, and of course more home runs, which a lot of people want to see in college baseball. You're seeing a lot more of that.
Here's Matajevic now. I got his pronunciation right away, by the way, because, you know, it's Slavic and being Polish. I got that down.
You got that. I struggled with it for a while. I had to practice for 2 days to say Matajevic.
I felt sorry for you there for a while.
Yeah, well, it's not Cajun at all, and so that kind of threw me for a loop.
That's outside.
There's no Bro or Thibodeau or, you know, Boudreaux or nothing in it like that, which I'm pretty good at those.
Speaking of homers, Matajevic homered at Hawaii a couple of weeks ago. Arizona's had quite a travel schedule this year. Over 12,000 miles of travel the last 3 weeks. We're at Oregon, at Hawaii, into Lafayette, and then, like you mentioned, the 5-hour bus ride from Lafayette to here.
Calling themselves the Road Warriors.
Yes, they are. That's hit well the other way. Into the corner. It bounces up against the wall for Matajevic. Rounding third is Aguilar. Here comes the throw. Not in time and up the line. Matajevic with a run-producing double, and Arizona takes the lead here in the 6th.
How about Matajevic? That's his second hit. Gets a single his last time up. Here's a ball up, out, over the plate. Watch this. Doesn't try to pull it. You see Kruger wants the ball away. That ball's up in his own, and Matajevic has a chance. This is where the difference was made. Ball hopped, and right there, Humphreys couldn't come up with it. And when he bobbled that throw a little bit right there, there was no doubt that Rifus was going to get cranked in, and he easily makes it home for the first run of the ball game. Humphreys just couldn't quite, you know, the ball caromed off the wall, and he reached for it with his throwing hand and couldn't come up with it. And that happened. It was trouble.
Here's a chopper to Collins at third. There's nobody covering second. Everybody's safe. Mentioned it before. Collins new to third base this year. He's had some issues at third base now. I don't know if that was his fault, if he had a play at first base, but he certainly decided he was going to try and get the runner right in front of him, but nobody was helping him out.
Yeah, I don't think Collins, this ball was hit off the top of the plate, and it bounced so far in the air. I think he makes the right play. Unfortunately, the shortstop, Gridley, is rolling around. Watch Gridley, the shortstop. He goes to cover third base right here, and there's nobody. The second baseman's not at second base either, and so end up getting nobody out. But I think it's the right play. I don't think there's no way he throws the out, gets the out at first base. Lewis got out of the box too good.
Fielder's choice. No mistake on the play. Arizona continues on here, 2 on, 2 outs, and Salazar at the plate. The backdoor breaking ball for strike 1. Salazar 1 for 2 with a single and a strikeout looking. Arizona in front. They draw first blood in this game tonight and in the 2016 Super Regional. Chad Kruger and Hudson. Look at how they are defensively playing Salazar here. You've got Holland way back on the grass in short right field.
Playing deep, and they think he's going to pull the baseball. Got him in the hole. So Salazar got his base hit the first time up. It's in the 4 hole between first and second.
Hudson trying to finish off the 6th inning. As he and the Dogs are playing from behind now. 1-0 Arizona. The 0-2 pitch to Salazar. That's down and in. Blocking it is Kruger. And the base runners will stay put.
Pretty good block by Kruger. Those are the toughest ones. Balls in the dirt. Arizona has done what it needed to do to this point. It's taken this big crowd.
Yeah.
Struck first, taking the momentum.
2-2. There are a few cowbells, but you're right. The atmosphere, not quite what it was a couple innings ago.
Oh, no doubt. And you can thank Bobby Dalbec, starting pitcher for Arizona. He's been the difference. He's held a very explosive Mississippi State offense down to this point and given his offense a chance to get rolling. And finally, Arizona comes through with a single run so far in the 6th inning.
That one fouled off. Dakota Hudson, Golden Spike semifinalist. He's coming off his worst start of the year. Gave up 4 runs on 4 hits and a no decision against Southeast Missouri State last Friday in the regional opener. Pitching pretty well here tonight, but now Arizona's gotten to him for 1 here in the 6th inning. Looking for more. 2 on, 2 out, the 2-2 pitch. Fouled off. Just getting a piece of it, Salazar to stay alive.
Tough pitch by Salazar, and he just nicks it. That's what you got to do against somebody like Dakota Hudson. You got to spoil some really tough pitches sometimes with 2 out. Just get a piece of them, foul them off, and hope he makes a mistake. Hudson, not a guy that normally certainly hadn't made a bunch of mistakes this year. Normally makes pitches when he needs to. It's a big pitch and a big out for Mississippi State. Really can't afford to go down more than 1.
Arizona, Ben, they have not been intimidated coming in here tonight. It's pretty evident. 16 wins away from their home at High Corbett Field this year. A new program record. And despite this monster crowd, they lead it in game 1.
Well, they've been the road warriors this year without a doubt.
That one sprayed to left. Humphreys makes the catch, and Hudson gets out of the inning without any further damage. But Matijevic with an RBI double here in the 6th, and the Cats have the lead.
Brendan Fitzgerald with an update. Justin Dunn, Boston College pitcher, had given up just 2 home runs all season long. Gave up 2 in the 3rd inning. This one to Zach Collins in a battle of first-rounders. The offense wins. Johnny Ruiz added a solo shot 2 batters later. It is 4-1 Miami over on ESPNU. Clay, back to you.
All right, fellas. All right, so Miami breathing a little easier. Still a long way to go in that ball game. Quite a ways to go in this one, too, but Arizona has the upper hand, leading 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the 6th inning. This is the latest date Mississippi State has ever played a game on campus. The attendance nearly 13,000 tonight. It's not going to be a new on-campus super regional record, but an absolutely fantastic crowd on a very hot night in the heart of Mississippi. He's Ben McDonald. I'm Clay Matvick. Jacob Robson leading off the 6th for the Bulldogs. By the way, you got a text. Wes Ray, he has some venison and shrimp on the grill out there.
Yeah, shrimp on the grill and a little deer sausage on the grill. And I told him that we were coming. Just make sure he saved some.
Well, I doubt they're going to not pack enough.
Well, that's a great thing about playing here. I played here many years ago, 1988. I pitched here, and the fans here are tough. They are tough on you when you play here. And if they figure out who your girlfriend is and your mom, you're going to hear about it. I can promise you. But after the game, they will feed you ribeye steaks and chicken and shrimp, whatever you want. So it's all in good fun. But this is a special place to play college baseball, without a doubt.
Wow. Strikeout. Bobby Dalbec with his 4th K. He has allowed just 3 hits through 5 1/3 innings tonight.
Yeah, Bobby Dalbec has really mixed it up against Mississippi State. This is just one of those good breaking balls. He's shown you a good breaking ball today, and he's shown you an outstanding changeup and enough fastballs to keep you honest. It's starting to get late, not late in this ball game, but here we are getting to the back third of this game, and Mississippi State is really not barreled up a whole lot of balls against Bobby Dalbec.
The Gavin Collins double in the 3rd inning. Probably the best hit ball that Mississippi State has had tonight. Other than that, Dalbec's had their number.
Oh, no doubt. And I think you got to give Dave Long, the pitching coach at Arizona, a lot of credit because he's sitting over there calling these pitches right now. He studied the scout reports, and we talked to him today. He's watched a lot of film, he said, against Mississippi State, just watching them. And he had a game plan going in, and so far, him and Bobby Dalbec, of course, the catcher Salazar, has been able to execute that game plan perfectly.
Arizona's team ERA coming into the night, 3.48, the lowest since 1976 when the Cats won the College World Series under Jerry Kindle. And certainly Dave Long deserves some of the credit for the staff's work here this year. Called strike 3 on the inside half. And Brent Rooker is 0 for 2 tonight.
Well, but Bobby Dalbec understands the situation. He's been around for a little bit. When you get a leader in a ball game, you got to go up and put a goose egg up, and he's working on that. He gets a breaking ball. It's not the breast one he's thrown. It kind of backed up a little bit, but still in all, back-to-back strikeouts after his team gave him a lead in the top of the 6th. Now 2 strikeouts to start the bottom of the 6th for Bobby Dalbec.
And now Humphreys at the plate, 0 for 2 with a strikeout his last time up. Got to think, too, and I think you alluded to this, Dalbec has to have a sense of ease tonight. That draft is out of the way.
Oh, yeah.
The Red Sox take him today in the 4th round. He doesn't have to think about that. His mind is clear.
For the guys that got drafted, even the guys that are playing, it doesn't get any better than this, right? School's out. You've been drafted. That's off your back. So it's almost like you're a pro guy now. You're a big league guy because this is what the guys do. They line up and they play every day. Don't have to worry about school right now. So it's a great time really for everybody involved because you work so hard all fall, the 2-a-days, the weightlifting, the running to get an opportunity to play in postseason play. And both of these teams who didn't even sniff postseason play last year are both sitting here in a super region.
Strikes out the side. 9-pitch inning for Bobby Dalbec. Back-to-back 1, 2, 3 innings, and Arizona leads Mississippi State through 6. Welcome back to the NCAA Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Dudy Noble Field got real quiet after that 3-up, 3-down inning where Bobby Dalbec struck out the side. Known more for his bat this season, but tonight he has been a lights-out pitcher, Ben McDonald.
No doubt. It's been about the changeup and that breaking ball right there and just enough fastballs to keep you honest. But he's had a big hook and a changeup going the opposite way. And I'm telling you what, he understood that situation. That was impressive for me. He finally got a run in the top of the 6th, and he knew he had to go out and keep the momentum for his team. Not only does he do that, he does it in a big way by punching out the side in the bottom of the 6th.
Dakota Hudson hasn't been bad either, just 1 run allowed. And now that's the 7th hit as Oliva leads off the 7th with a single. And that Arizona dugout, you can hear him up here in the press box. It has really come to life the last couple of innings.
They're starting to believe now. They really think they can now. And again, they're playing with house money. They weren't supposed to be here. Picked to finish 9th. They end up finishing 3rd. In the Pac-12. They came from a really hostile environment. When you talk about the Raging Cajuns down in Lafayette, that's a tough place to go in there and win. And not only did they do that, they beat them. They beat the Cajuns twice, back-to-back, to do that. So they know about adversity, does Arizona. They know how to win, and certainly playing their best baseball here down the stretch when it means the most.
Now Lewis Boyd struggled last week in Lafayette, 2 for 13. He's 1 for 2 tonight, however, with a double. Oh, look out. He had to duck out of the way of that pitch from Hudson. And he didn't offer at it. Mark Ewell at first base.
Arizona going to try to bunt, going to try to move a runner into scoring position. They've not been able to do that so far tonight.
Oliver at first base. 13 steals on the year. They're looking to move him over, though, with the sacrifice. Again, that pitch missed, and it's 2-0. They may not have to use the sacrifice.
Well, now that Jay Johnson has the lead, now you may see a hit and run put on. You know, typically kind of what happens in a fastball count. You think you're going to get a fastball. Tried to bunt, but didn't get it. And now all of a sudden you may see a little action.
3-0. There's Dakota Hudson struggling to start the 7th inning. Behind the number 9 hitter, 3 balls and no strikes. Second 3-ball count for Dakota tonight.
Yeah, he walked a guy several innings ago on a 4-pitch walk. The same thing. You know, he's only walked 1 the whole game. The command's been pretty good.
Austin Sexton expected to start tomorrow in game 2. They're hoping it's not to stave off elimination. The 3-1 popped up. Diving as Hudson doesn't come up with it. The catcher, Kruger, smartly goes to second for 1. They won't get 2, but Kruger saved that play.
That's some big bodies flying around out there. I tell you what. How about Lowe and Hudson both laying out? This ball is kind of popped up in the air. Again, Arizona having some trouble getting a bunt on the ground, which they normally do really well. But you see the square by Boyd, and look, gets the bottom part of the ball and pops it up. And watch the dive by Hudson and Lowe. Lowe hits in his glove for just 1 second. Watch this. Hudson misses it. It hits in Lowe. It comes out. And how about Kruger, the catcher? Very heads-up play by him. He comes all the way down the first base line, picks the ball up, and go ahead and gets the lead out at second base.
Boy, they are fortunate that nobody got hurt on that play, especially Dakota Hudson. And that's exactly what Wes Johnson wants to make sure of. It appeared everybody was okay, but Johnson just wants to go out and get confirmation on it.
Yeah, very unusual play. This could have been ugly for both of these guys, but it seems to be everybody's okay.
Well, nearly got a foot to the face. There is activity in the Mississippi State bullpen. Daniel Brown, who was a draft pick earlier today in the 7th round by the Milwaukee Brewers. 201st pick overall, starting to loosen up for the Bulldogs. And he is going to come in. Pitching change for Mississippi State. So Dakota Hudson, the 1st-round draft pick. Maybe the last time in this uniform.
Yeah, outstanding job by Dakota Hudson. Only 1 earned run to this point. He's given Mississippi State an opportunity, but their offense has not been able to do anything against Dalbec.
Crowd says thank you, Dakota. Dakota Hudson out after 6 1/3 innings. Gives up 1 run on 7 hits, 6 strikeouts. He is going to be relieved by Daniel Brown for the 2nd time in 2 games. Brown pitched 3 1/3 innings of scoreless relief to get the win against Southeast Missouri last Friday after Hudson left the game. The junior out of Texas. Again, drafted by the Brewers earlier today.
Well, Daniel Brown's going to show you some good stuff. His fastball, even from the left side, is going to be up to 92 miles an hour. Good changeup and a good breaking ball. You got to think he is in to face the lefties. 4 of the next 5 batters, if it stays the same for Arizona, are all left-handed hitters.
1 out for Arizona here in the 7th. Lewis Boyd is at first base. And this is Cody Raymer, who doubled his first time up, reached on a fielder's choice and struck out. Brown and 2 other Mississippi State players drafted today. Reed Humphrey, 7th round by the Rockies. Robson, 8th round pick of the Tigers today. That's in the dirt. Kruger won't get to it in time. And now Boyd in scoring position. This is after the news that he got drafted, Daniel Brown. 201st pick. An organization that had you at one time, the Milwaukee Brewers.
Yeah.
Ground ball played perfectly. Gridley right there. And he'll throw out Raymer. Over to third is Boyd. 2 outs for Gibbons.
You're right. Talk about played perfectly. I think Gridley might have been holding Oliver close to second base, but nonetheless, he's in a perfect spot. That ball struck well, but straight to him. More shaded up the middle. Now Mississippi State just 1 out away from keeping this a 1-run ball game.
You can tell that both teams did their homework on the scouting reports.
Oh, no doubt.
The fielding positioning has been impeccable tonight.
Not a whole lot of secrets in college baseball anymore. The scout reports are too good. Every game seems like it's on TV, or you can watch it on ESPN3 apps or whatever. So plenty of information for all the coaches to study pretty much every at-bat or every pitch a pitcher throws throughout the season.
Gibbons 0 for 3 with a K. Arizona 0 for 8 with runners in scoring position. Hacked, foul. 1-1. Zach Gibbons, the senior from Scottsdale, Arizona. One of the greats to ever wear this uniform. Trying to give the Cats some insurance here in the 7th inning. The 1-1. Up and away from Daniel Brown.
When you say greats, that's a mouthful. Because you think Arizona, I mean, 4 national titles. The last one they won in 2012. 16 appearances at the College World Series, and now their 38th NCAA appearance. Arizona, a rich tradition. How about that pitch?
That's a buried strike. 2-2.
93 miles an hour right on the inside part of the plate. Not a whole lot you can do with that as a hitter.
And Kruger's going to come out for a quick chat. Yeah, that 2012 team that won the College World Series for Arizona. They were the team to finally end South Carolina's dominance. They were going for the three-peat in Omaha.
That's right.
And Arizona got them.
And Arizona, you know, was a pretty good team all year long, but not a dominant team, you know, but they got hot at the right time. I remember that team. It could always hit and could swing it well, but the pitching for that team wasn't that good. But at the end, their pitching staff elevated the last couple of weeks of the season. They wanted the whole thing.
Chop left side. Should end the inning. Gridley to first. And Gibbons and the Cats retired. They strand another one. The lead stays 1-0 Arizona after 6.5.
Brendan Fitzgerald back in studio. Baseball across ESPN networks. On ESPNU, Boston College has battled back. It's a 4-3 game in the 4th. East Carolina, Texas Tech just underway over on ESPN News. All of it streaming live on Watch ESPN. Clay, back to you.
All right, Brendan, an exciting first night in the Super Regional round of the NCAA baseball tournament. It is Ryan Gridley, John Holland, Jake Mangum. 8-9-1 for Mississippi State. They're behind 1-0 as they hit in the 7th.
Yeah, only 9 outs to work with for State. And that's been the old Uncle Charlie. That's been the difference maker for Bobby Dalbec. Has he been good?
He has been terrific.
I tell you what, whoever drafted him may want to reconsider him.
Draft him as a pitcher?
Yeah, as a pitcher, and not a position player. Because I tell you what, he's shown you some big-time stuff tonight. There's no doubt about it.
Red Sox took him in the 4th round today as an infielder. Gridley to center. Oliver. 1 down. This week on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball, it's the first ever doubleheader from the seats. The Cardinals and Pirates 5 Eastern, then the Dodgers and the Giants at 8:30. And the announced teams for both of those games are going to be calling it from the stands. It's going to be fun.
Oh, nice.
Both games also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
Speaking of the Cardinals, they got to be pretty excited about taking Dakota Hudson.
Oh, good play by Ryan Aguilar to stick with that. John Holland grounds out number 2 here in the 7th inning.
That was a funny hop. Ball kind of came up on the first baseman Aguilar. Watch this. Watch this glove work. Up. That's a pretty athletic play right there. Gets in front of it. He was set up perfectly on the ball, but it took a funny hop, and Aguilar athletic enough to get the glove to it.
Dalbec has retired 10 straight now, Ben. Does the approach for the Mississippi State hitters have to change? Do they need to show a little more patience because they've jumped on some early pitches here? There again, Mangum swinging at the first pitch. Looks like there's room for Lewis, and he makes the catch. Wow, a quick inning, just 5 pitches needed for Bobby Dalbec in the 7th.
Well, Bobby Dalbec is working with all kind of confidence right now. He's got the breaking ball going, the changeup. And how about Lewis, the third baseman, over to the camera well, leans over. Arizona putting it on State right now. 1-0 as they're frustrated at Mississippi State.
Here's our game summary as we're back in Starkville. Arizona 1 run, 7 hits, no errors. Mississippi State being shut out by Bobby Dalbec. Just 3 hits for the Bulldogs here tonight. J.J. Matijevic has driven in the only run. Now time for the pick you up moment of the game presented by Enterprise Rent-A-Car. It was Matijevic in the 6th with that double to left.
Yeah, gets the ball up in the zone and went with it in a 1-hopper. And you can see Arizona pumped up. And I tell you what, and they're very loose. We talked about that. It's house money for them. They were down in Lafayette last weekend. Plenty of gumbo and etouffee and fried crawfish. And the boys are feeling good here in Starkville now.
Yeah, the guys from the desert Southwest have been acclimated to the deep South here the last couple weeks.
They're staying in the same hotel as us and talking to some of the boys at breakfast. I was like, hey, what'd you have to eat over in Lafayette? Well, so I had some crawfish. I had some etouffee. And once I tried turtle soup. So they tried a little bit of everything, but I said they've had an outstanding time. Of course, when you're winning, it doesn't get any better than this.
Alfonso Rivas leading it off. He's got a single in 3 trips. Also reached on a walk, so he's 1 for 2. 3, 4, and 5 this inning for Arizona. Didn't mean to go around, but he did. It's 1 and 2 now to Rivas. Arizona went 16 and 14 in the Pac-12. That league was won by Utah. They got 19 wins in league play to claim the auto bid in the Pac, despite having a losing record overall. Struck him out. Dakota Hudson, relieved by Brown last inning. That's his first strikeout. More coverage of the Division I baseball tournament and interactive brackets. Go to ncaa.com. Hudson went out after 6 1/3 last inning. Aguilar up there for Arizona. Aguilar, a couple of groundouts at a fielder's choice. I mean, this place has a lot of magic, Ben. I mean, you can remember back from your playing days back in the late 80s. This is a tough place to win ball games. And Mississippi State has 13 come from behind wins this year, including 1 walk-off win. So even though things are looking good here for Arizona late in this ball game, don't count out these dogs, especially in this place.
Oh, no way. And this crowd is just waiting for something good to happen. I mean, it could just explode at any second. But I tell you what, Bobby Dalbec, starting pitcher. Take a look at John Cohen. Starting pitcher for Arizona has been outstanding so far tonight.
Back-to-back Ks for Brown.
Yeah, how about Daniel Brown? We talked about him coming in relief for Dakota Hudson. For the next 5 guys in that Arizona lineup when he came in was going to be left-handed, showing a fastball up to 92, 93 miles an hour. But this is his out pitch, his wipeout pitch is that good breaking ball.
And now J.J. Matijevic, who had that RBI double in the 6th, comes up again. He's got 2 hits tonight. Hey, looking ahead, there's nobody working in the Arizona pen right now, so it appears Bobby Dalbec is going to come out for the 8th. Should Arizona win this game, Ben, things would really set up nicely because they can bring back Nathan Bannister tomorrow,
right?
Who would be on 4 days rest. He's their ace. He's been outstanding this season. Has 11 wins on the year. and then all of a sudden the power shifts to Arizona.
Oh, no doubt. And the pressure really gets on Mississippi State, too, because they were the national seed. They were supposed to win at home. You talked about the percentage when you host a super regional. Over 70% of the time, the home team wins it. And so then all the pressure falls to Mississippi State. And you're right. And Arizona could even rest Nathan Bannister and give him an extra day's rest because he, you know, a lot of pitches in the regionals, 13 or 14 innings pitched for the weekend. And so you may see them run out maybe their number 3 guy, Arizona, tomorrow if they can win today and save their ace, Bannister, give him an extra day's rest and use him in game 3 if need be.
Yeah, I guess C.J. Cloney would be another candidate to start tomorrow if
and
Jay
while
Johnson
Cloney
decides.
wasn't good his last time out, he's been really good for Arizona.
That one nearly got our cameraman down there.
I mean, Cloney's 6-4 with a 2.86.
Look out, Mr.
ERA. Yeah, I tell you what, that was a missile right there.
The 1-2 to Manajevic. A piece of it again. This is game 1 of the Super Regional. It's a best-of-3 series. Winner of the Super heads to Omaha, which opens up a week from tomorrow in the Big O at TD Ameritrade Park. Got it. Brown striking out the side in the 8th. That brings some life back to Duty Noble. Bulldogs running out of time. These bats need to start waking up. They're down to their last 6 outs.
How about this breaking ball by Brown? Perfectly placed 2-pitch strike. Mississippi State hunting some offense.
Apologize for the technical difficulties happening right now in Starkville. It is still 1-0 Arizona, bottom of the 8th inning. We'll keep you posted on this game, and we will try to get our signal back up just as soon as we can. 1-run game late in the ball game. It's also a 1-run game in Miami. Texas Tech is underway with East Carolina, and TCU and Texas A&M coming up later tonight. But again, we know you want to see what's happening in Starkville, and we're experiencing some technical difficulties with that right now. We will get you back out to Starkville, Arizona, Mississippi State, as soon as we can. But in the meantime, we'll give you live action baseball in Coral Gables, Miami and Boston College in a 1-run game. We'll keep you posted. Stay here.
And then he attacked on the first pitch he saw in that 3rd inning. So here's round 3.
Battle of 2 players taken in the 1st round yesterday. Dunn, 19th to the Mets. Collins, 10th to the White Sox. Fastball, low 1-0.
That's a good pitch by Justin Dunn. And then 1st and 2nd. And the way Boston College plays defense, keep that ball down, try to get a ground ball. Do not elevate against Zach Collins. Boston College infield playing pull at short, holding the runner. Chester's a fast runner, second baseman, playing straight up.
Ball into strike. To left-handed hitting Zach Collins. Action in the Boston College bullpen. It's Brian Rapp, the right-hander. Swing and a miss.
That's the same spot Justin Dunn went in a 3-2 pitch in that 1st inning. The fastball Collins hit, it was up, but not up higher than higher. What I mean is that's a pitch at 94-95. Collins is not going to catch up with it. A little bit lower, like the one in the 3rd inning. That's why he was able to put a good swing and hit it out.
Grounded weakly up the first base line, but off the foot of Collins for a foul ball.
And it's interesting in this inning, you start looking at the way Dunn has been.
For those watching ESPN2 and hoping for Arizona and Mississippi State, we are still experiencing technical difficulties in Starkville. We do want to give you live baseball, so we're going to keep it here. We'll let you know what's happening in Lubbock as well, as there are 2 super regional games elsewhere going on. Right now you have Justin Dunn on the mound, first-round pick of the Mets. Zach Collins, 10th overall pick in the draft, at the plate with 2 runners on in a 1-run game. He already has a 3-run home run tonight. So that's what's going on here on ESPNU. We will get you back to Starkville just as soon as we can.
Brandon Lopez, that's the game within the game. You give him 1 out, you're taking the bat away from your best hitter. But it worked out for Miami, but Dunn here, way ahead in the count against Collins.
Collins hits a high fly ball down the left field line, but foul. Chester at second. He walked to start the 5th. Batista hit by a pitch.
You can
76 pitches.
You can attack Collins different ways here with a fastball up, but you have to make sure it's higher than higher, a pitch that he has to chase and miss. If it's a ball, it's a ball, then you can go with that slider down and in or something else down in the zone. Change the eye level. But you still got in the back of your mind that fastball that he hit out of the ballpark. It was a pitch up in the zone. He got to it.
Another fastball upstairs for a ball.
That's why these 2 kids are who they are, huh? First rounders, executing pitches, making pitches. It's talented kids being able to perform the whole season, executing their game plans. That's why they got drafted in the first round yesterday.
Swing and a miss. Another high fastball, and Dunn shuts down Collins for the 2nd time.
And that's just executing your game plan. Zach Collins gets to a
Dunn
fastball.
wins this battle with Zach Collins, who homered off him earlier in the evening. Want to let you know, in Starkville, there is a campus-wide power outage right now, so they are not playing in Starkville at Duty Noble Field. Mississippi State and Arizona, it's a 1-0 Arizona lead in the 8th inning, but campus-wide power outage right now, so there is nothing going on. You're not missing any baseball from there. We'll bring you back to that when we can and when they resume play. But for right now, we stick with what's happening in Coral Gables.
He's been able to strike him out twice on the same pitch.
So the baton passes to Lopez, drafted by the Twins in the 10th round earlier today. And he takes a strike. Alex, yesterday Mike Gambino told us a great story that Dunn, after his freshman year, went to Summer League. And he called his coach after a Summer League start. He said, "Coach, I touched 96. And Mike Gambino said, "First time you touched 96? He said, "Yeah." And then Dunn said, "And the guy hit it over the scoreboard." And Coach Gambino laughed a little and said, "So now what?" And Dunn's response, as Lopez takes another strike, Dunn's response was, "I get it now. It's not all about hitting certain numbers on the radar gun. You can throw hard, but you've got to learn to pitch." And that was a moment, Coach Gambino said, contributed to the evolution of his young right-hander.
When you're playing with the best talent in the nation in the summer, and the competition day in and day out is that good, that's going to happen, and that's why that's how you learn.
Lopez off the fists. BC to second for 1. Relay to first, not in time. Trying to turn that 3-6-1 double play. So Batista erased at second base, Lopez to first, and on to third goes Chester.
And that's a good play by Birgas. He catches it, throws the ball on the run, very quick, perfect throw to first base. Dunn, he gets there on time, but he can't find the bag. Brandon Lopez hustling all the way. First base. A good all-around play. That first baseman, perfect throw. I mean, Coach Gambino, he mentioned yesterday, he's a shortstop playing first base. Good hands, good release, good throwing arm, great feet, and you just saw it in that play.
There's a skipper not far from here for the Miami Marlins, who used to make that 3-6-3 double play look easy. Here's Ruiz, who homered his last time up. Outside corner, strike one.
Dunn attacking Ruiz right away with a fastball. He was able to strike him out in the first at bat, using that slider down and in, following a changeup. But his fastball is still with good velocity. He's gaining confidence with it. So what happened with Collins climbing the ladder. Now he goes with the breaking ball.
And Dunn now one pitch away from getting out of it. Miami at first into second and nobody out. Collins struck out, and then Lopez hit into a force out. And it's 0-2 on Ruiz. Dunn has struck out 6.
And with Dunn in the mound and his mentality, I think he's locked in with the hitter. Wouldn't surprise me if Brandon Lopez takes off here, try to steal second, put pressure on Boston College defense.
Up high, Ruiz does not chase the fastball, 97.
He's changing eye levels. He went with 2 off-speed pitches, goes with the fastball up. Actually, that fastball, too much. It was a pitch that Ruiz recognized right away. What they call a non-competitive pitch, a pitch that the hitter just recognized right away. It's a waste pitch.
And now they've got the runner at second hung up, but Lopez will take second. Shortino aware of Chester's speed at third base.
And that's a good job by Brandon Lopez on the delayed steal. Shortino, I mean, he can throw the ball to second, but actually it's one of those like, you know what, take your bag. I got my ace on the mound. We're going to lock in on the hitter. We're going to make a pitch here. I trust the guy on the mound. Let's go get him. And I don't blame him.
Come on, Johnny.
3 balls, 2 strikes, 2 outs. Top of the 5th, Miami leading Boston College by a score of 4-3 in game 1 of this Coral Gables Super Regional.
And all the at-bats that have been to 3-2, except one, he used the breaking ball. As a hitter, you have to have that in the back of the mind. You're still looking for the fastball, but you have to shoot it the other way. If he has the breaking ball, you can stay on the breaking ball.
Ruiz skies one to left field. Hogarth makes the catch, and Justin Dunn able to MacGyver out of trouble in the 5th. High fives all around for the right-hander.
So Justin Dunn battling there, and it's still just a 1-run game in Coral Gables. In Starkville, Arizona has a 1-0 lead on Mississippi State. There is a delay right now because there is a campus-wide power outage. So last week it was the weather. We've had a little bit of weather in Coral Gables. Now we have a power outage in Starkville. Gabe Gross is here. Your thoughts on this matchup so far, how it's playing out?
Well, it's been a tremendous pitching matchup to watch. I mean, both pitchers have wiggled out of jams. Dakota Hudson finally got one up, elevated fastball that cost him the 1 run, and we'll see. They still got a chance to come back, but right now it's a difference in the ball game.
Mississippi State's been able to swing the bats all season long. What do they need to do?
They got to be a little more patient. They're really, really out in front and early in the count right now against Dalbec. This is a guy who's been a closer all year long, hadn't thrown deep into games, and they're letting him pitch right now in the 8th inning with only 90 pitches thrown and keeping him around.
Certainly, Mississippi State should be confident. They were SEC regular season champs, but right now trailing 1-0 and perhaps new territory hosting a super regional for the Bulldogs. Boomer White, the SEC Player of the Year for the Aggies of Texas A&M. They'll get the rematch started against TCU in less than 20 minutes on ESPN2. Bonus baseball happening right now. We'll get to some live action. It's East Carolina and Texas Tech in the top of the 3rd in Lubbock.
1 out in the top of the 3rd. Luke Bolka, the DH, coming up. This week on ESPN Sunday Night Baseball. It's a first ever doubleheader from the seats. Starts at 5 Eastern with the Cards and Pirates. Dave Fleming, Dallas Braden, and Eduardo Perez call the game from atop the Clemente Wall. PNC Park at 5 Eastern. Then at 8:30, Dan Shulman, Aaron Boone, Jessica Mendoza. Dodgers Giants from above the right field wall at AT&T. Both games are also streaming live on Watch ESPN and the ESPN app.
You choose AT&T, wouldn't you, to be up?
I'm a little biased.
Yeah. Did you say a little?
Keep in mind, Dallas Braden, Texas Tech Red Raider.
Wow.
1-0 pitch. That's fouled off by Bolka at home plate.
Left-hander, huh? Left-handed pitcher.
Threw a perfect game for the Oakland A's. 1-1 the count on Luke Bolka, the 9-hitter. He's hitting at .307. And Bolka came into ECU as a left-handed pitcher. Has been injured, has not thrown much this season. Has made a nice transition to more of a hitter over the last 2 years for East Carolina. 2-1 the count, 1 down, 1-0 Red Raiders in the third. Davis Martin the pitch. And Bolka, bouncer right over the mound, and it trickles out into center field. And that's hit number 3 for East Carolina. One out base runner in the third. We go back to the top of the order for the Pirates. And Parker Lamb coming up.
Well, if one thing we've noticed about this Pirate offense, Rox, is that they don't have a lot of balls in the air so far. They've hit the ball in the right places, on the ground. And you see Bolka looking at his left arm. The signs that come in from third base coach Jeff Godwin are numerical.
Lamb goes back up the middle. Back-to-back hits for the Pirates in the third. 2 on, 1 out.
This is a hanging breaking ball right up the middle here, and Lamb does not miss this. But again, we're seeing line drives, Roxy, from this Pirate offense. And they're right there, Rox. How'd you like to read that wristband right there?
Well, it's all through a number sequence, right? That's the signs.
Yeah. Game's changed just a little, that's all.
East Carolina, a couple on the board there, trailing 1-0. Meanwhile, it's 1-0 Arizona over Mississippi State. Power outage in Starkville. Want to bring in Clay Matvick with a report from Starkville as to what's going on. Clay?
All right, Brendan, we're just waiting out this campus-wide power outage. And it couldn't have come at a worse time for Arizona. The power went out at 7:32 local time, 8:32 Eastern time, about 22 minutes ago. And it couldn't have come at a worse time for Arizona, leading 1-0 going into the bottom of the 8th. And their starter, Bobby Dalbec, has just been dealing today, allowing Mississippi State just 3 hits all evening, no runs on 3 hits. And he was ready to start the 8th inning. But now this power outage that started at 7:32 local time, you begin to wonder if Jay Johnson's hands are going to be tied and whether Dalbec won't even be able to return after this long delay. 3 times this year he's gone 7 2/3 innings. That's his season high, and he's at 7 innings now. But now after a delay that's well over 20 minutes, and who knows how much longer it's going to go, whether he can return. I mean, this could end up being Mississippi State's rally possum. Who knows? That's what some of the folks in this stadium are starting to believe, that this might be fate for Mississippi State, that they've got 6 outs left and that they've got to come back in. But they're down 1-0, and Arizona has played exceptionally well here tonight. But then just before the bottom of the 8th inning, the power goes out here in Starkville, Mississippi. Now there is additional lighting for the TV broadcast here at Dudy Noble Field. So there is light on the field, but not enough to play ball. The stadium lights went out, and even though the sun is still up, it is setting. It is just too dark to play, and Jay Johnson has to be just beside himself at the timing of all of this. Arizona leading 1-0 as Mississippi State was ready to hit here in the bottom of the 8th with his all-conference player who was just drafted today by the Boston Red Sox, Bobby Dalbec, on the mound, commanding the strike zone, dominating the Mississippi State hitters, and now this power outage, which is going on 25 minutes old.
Okay, Clay. Well,
so, like everybody else, we're just waiting here.
Well, we'll wait with you, and certainly a tough spot for each of these teams. But thank you, Clay, and we'll get back out there as soon as we can.
All right, Brendan. Thanks.
So, Clay, keeping us updated as to what's happening in Starkville. There's Nick Banks. He is a great hitter. That is not one of his moves, certainly. But Texas A&M and TCU is coming up top of the hour, about 10 minutes away from them getting underway in College Station. And it appears sunny at Bluebell Park, so it doesn't appear weather issues will be a problem, and we hope the stadium lights are plugged in as well. In Lubbock, Texas, it is now 1-0 Texas Tech, but East Carolina has loaded the bases in the third.
Home run numbers, just all of them can hit.
Brown's not your prototypical cleanup batter, but he's hitting in the cleanup spot as Martin goes from the windup. And it's ball one as Brown went the other way with a single in the second inning. And Brown was inserted by Cliff Godwin into the cleanup spot about 4 or 5 weeks ago. But a freshman has been the starter at short since day one. And it's 2-0 on Brown with the bases loaded.
This is going to be an interesting pitch here by Martin. Normally when he's behind, he's not giving in. He has the ability to throw something soft and off speed when he's behind the count. Let's see what happens here with the bases loaded and the 4-hole hitter up for the Pirates.
And that's a strike on the outside edge of the knees.
And that's pretty generous out there. I mean, it's exactly where you want to throw a 2-0 pitch in this situation, but it's right on the outside part, and home plate umpire Scott Higgins. It's
borderline.
I'm not going.
And now it's 3 balls and a strike on Turner Brown.
It might be borderline on the chalk. But now we're back in the same spot here, 3-1.
Bases loaded for the Pirates. Bulka at third, Lamb at second, Jorgen at first base. The 3-1. And it's ball 4. Davis Martin has walked in a run as Luke Bulka comes across to tie it for East Carolina.
You talk about a great at-bat as you see Bulka score the Pirates' first run. Brown doesn't even flinch at this pitch, Rox, on a 3-1 count. You'll see a lot of times hitters will give you a little bit of jerk because they're trying to hit the ball hard somewhere. Brown doesn't even flinch.
And the bases are loaded for Travis Watkins, who singled in the second inning. He's got some pop. 5 homers on the year. Reaching for to roll it to short. Orlando Garcia on the move to first base. There in plenty of time to get out of it. But East Carolina scores to tie the game. Top of the order coming up. We're tied at 1.
Tie ball game there. Josh Watson and TCU getting ready for Texas A&M. Top of the hour on ESPN2 for the Horned Frogs and Aggies. Watson, 11 home runs, 44 RBI. And the reason why that game will be at the top of the hour on ESPN2 is because Arizona and Mississippi State are delayed right now 1-0 in the 8th inning. Not because of weather, because of a campus-wide power outage. And so the lights are out at Dudy Noble Field. The sun is setting and it's too dark to continue playing baseball. So in the 8th inning, as Mississippi State gets ready to take their swings in the home half, trailing 1-0, there is a delay. Bobby Dalbec on the mound for Arizona has held the Bulldogs to 3 hits. We'll see if he can go, but no timetable on the return just yet. In Coral Gables, Miami has a 4-3 lead on Boston College in the 6th inning. Let's listen in.
It's very easy to say, yeah, we have great team chemistry when you win 40 games. When you're playing 20 games over 500 and you win your tournament and your regular season, that's very easy. But to say it, to have fun when you're playing for a quote-unquote bad team, that tells you a lot about this group of guys.
BC endured a 15-game losing streak that season. This is the first winning season that Mike Gambino has had at Boston College as the head coach. BC finished 500 last year, but Gambino said halfway through last year, he got a sense that BC had a chance to make some noise in 2016. Cronin hits a high drive deep down the left field line, but hooking foul.
Michael Mediavilla the last two pitches in the inside part of the plate. On the previous pitch, Cronin was late, probably looking for that changeup that Mediavilla has used. After the third inning, there he goes back in, and he was able to catch up with it. On a 2-2 count, expect that changeup down and away from Mediavilla here, trying to get a swing and miss or weak contact. One thing about Boston College, after this first time through the lineup, seems like they're very comfortable on their batter's box, trying to shoot the ball the other way and batting on bats.
Good take there by Cronin, 3-2, and now Strem will be off with the pitch. Strem has commanded Mediavilla's attention at first base all inning. Grounded to third. Michelangeli across the diamond, and that does it. No runs, no hits, a walk, and one man left. 4-3, Miami on top after 5.5.
Boston College Miami continues on ESPNU as they head for the bottom of the sixth. Mississippi State, Arizona 1-0. Again, there's a delay as they head to the bottom of the 8th inning because of a power outage on campus in Starkville with Mississippi State there. So we'll keep you posted. There is no timetable on the return. They have crews on site working to restore the power so that that game can resume. And perhaps just an inning and a half left, or maybe more if Mississippi State can tie things up and send it to extra innings. But right now the Bulldogs held to just 3 hits so far on the night. This one of 4 super regionals getting started tonight. Another one is in Lubbock. This can be seen on ESPN News right now. Texas Tech, the 5th overall seed, the Big 12 champs of the regular season, and East Carolina tied at 1 in the 3rd.
Face gets into this, and some of this turf, Rock, you've seen this, Roxy. There's these little pebbles that are in this turf.
Those little rubber balls.
Yeah.
Two balls, 2 strikes, and Stephen Smith leading off the home half of the 3rd. Evan Krasinski the pitch. That runs in tight. And Smith was diving out a little bit over the plate. That one backed him off home plate.
Well, there's a reason for every pitch that Krasinski throws.
Okay, just wanted to show you some live baseball there as we await things happening in Starkville. That game right now is on ESPN News, Texas Tech and East Carolina. Over on ESPNU, you can watch Boston College and Miami in a 1-run game as they head for the bottom of the 6th over on ESPNU. Here on ESPN2, 30 seconds away from the start of Texas A&M TCU. What does Texas A&M have to watch out for early in this one?
I think being a little overhyped up, trying to do a little bit too much. Coach Childress needs to relay to his team, stay within yourselves, do what you've done all year long. It'll be good enough.
It's a rematch that a lot of people have long awaited for, especially in College Station. Arizona is up 1-0 on Mississippi State. Power outage in Starkville has delayed that one. So right now we send you to College Station, Bluebell Park for Texas A&M and TCU Game 1. Enjoy.
Welcome to the NCAA Baseball Super Regionals presented by Capital One. Olsen Field at Bluebell Park gets us started tonight. Around the country, 8 sites of best-of-3 Super Regionals with the right to advance to Omaha. And this side of the bracket looks like this. Down bottom left quadrant, the winner here gets the winner between Texas Tech and East Carolina. This game in this series is a story of revenge. These longtime Southwest Conference rivals meet on the field again for the first time in 368 days. And it's got the folks in Aggieland looking for a win that never came. We take you back to the Fort Worth Super Regional last year. Evan Scow got the plate, able to put one in play in the 16th inning to drive home Garrett Crane. And that's how a super regional for the ages would end. A pair of one-run games over the final two. And deep into the Texas night, the Aggies sent home, and the Horned Frogs headed to Omaha for the second straight year. With that, we welcome you. Tom Hart alongside Kyle Peterson. There's also a secondary storyline here that's beyond just revenge. His name is Boomer. Boomer White, the SEC Player of the Year, is a former Horned Frog. 2 years ago, he led TCU to Omaha. Now he's wearing maroon and white.
Wanted to be an Aggie, and Texas A&M is pretty happy that he did, because since Boomer White has come on campus, all he did was become the SEC Player of the Year this year. White had never played the infield. They pushed him to third base. He's anchored this lineup right in the middle of the entire year and has ended up playing a very good defensive third base. On the other side, it's one of the best freshmen in the entire country. Maybe the biggest kid on the field tonight is just 18 years old, and that's Luken Baker. Has been a big part of this TCU club earlier in the year on the mound, but throughout the entire season at the plate.
These two teams are red hot. They both swept through their regional. They both won their conference tournaments. And now TCU, winners of 12 of 13, and A&M, winners of 7 in a row, go head-to-head with a big name in the headlines. This is a super regional that sold out in 15 minutes. So however you can get eyes on the game, do it. Even if that means you're at the top of the south end zone at Kyle Field. TCU, 4-seed Texas A&M meet in the best of 3 for a right to go to Omaha. And if revenge is the word of the day, it's the word of the last year for these Aggies. And for more on that, let's take you down to the field as we say good evening to Laura Rutledge.
Tom, Texas A&M head coach Rob Childress put it this way. He said, we'll never forget the way that we lost to TCU last year. And even if we're able to beat them this year in advance to Omaha, we still won't forget what happened last year. But just in case you needed any reminder, this A&M team put the picture of the TCU dog pile in their locker room. It's been a constant reminder all season long. They've seen it every single time they've gone into that locker room, and it says, don't forget how close we are. Now, center fielder J.B. Moss said if you ever needed motivation on a random Tuesday to practice and work hard, it was seeing this photo. They've called this year for the Aggies the Revenge Tour 2016. This is the last piece of that tour in their quest for Omaha, and they need a great start from Brigham Hill tonight, guys.
All right, Laura, thank you. As Hill takes the mound, he's a pitcher that's found his way. Formerly a reliever, now he's the ace. And the sophomore gets the ball on this Friday night, where a win in game number 1 is oh so important as we look at his scouting report.
Yeah, and he's been such a big shot in the arm for this Texas A&M starting rotation since he moved into it. Low 90s with sink. That's a pretty good combination. But a swing and miss changeup behind it. You don't see that combo very often. It's a rare combination of control and power, and that's what Hill has had the entire year.
TCU comes in having won 5 straight and 12 of 13. As we take a look at their batting order, this is a very balanced attack, but the power right there back-to-back. Evan Skaug, the catcher. Luken Baker, the freshman DH, twice in Oklahoma City at the Big 12 tournament. They went back-to-back with Jack. Skaug's hit 9 of them. Baker's hit 8. Austin Wade is their leadoff man, and we are underway in College Station with a first pitch strike. Wade, a sophomore from Midland, Texas, having a breakout year. He was expected to be a 5th or 6th outfielder on this team, but he found playing time, and he's taken advantage at the top of the lineup. It's a TCU team which won the Big 12 tournament, one of the best offenses in the Big 12 conference. They led the league with a .308 average, and they score better than 7 runs a game. That's top 25 in the country. Quickly 1 and 2 now from Brigham Hill to Austin Wade. And a punch out to start us off.
You can see Austin Wade in that spot. I think he's looking for something other than a fastball, and Brigham Hill just rear back and let this one go. Went off speed earlier and pumps a 90-mile-an-hour fastball right in there. Good quick start for Brigham Hill. First strikeout of the ball game.
And that will bring Cam Warner, the Australian second baseman, to the plate. .307 average for Warner. Had a great Fort Worth regional. TCU did not lose a game at their home park last weekend. And 92 to greet Warner. 0-1. Brigham Hill has been sensational as of late. Over his last 4 games, he's 4-0 with a better than 3-1 strikeout to walk ratio. He's gone 6 innings or better in every one of those starts, and he's allowed a grand total of 3 earned runs. Just when A&M needed somebody, and those starts came against great teams, 2 against South Carolina, Ole Miss, and then Wake Forest in the regional last weekend. Overcooks that one, 1-2 now to Warner.
Well, he was a guy that was thought to be a key part of this bullpen, and he was early in the season, but the starting rotation just was not as consistent as Rob Childress wanted to see. Kyle Simons was, the others weren't. Brigham Hill have been so consistent in that relief role. They plugged him in as a starter, and he has not stopped.
Breaking ball lifted to shallow left field. It will drop in front of Joel Davis, and it's a base hit for Cam Warner. TCU has been to Omaha for 2 consecutive seasons under Jim Schlossnagle. He's in his 13th season as the head man in Fort Worth. Has won 561 games. 7 active big leaguers from the Horned Frog program right now. And with 1 on and 1 out, catcher Evan Scoug comes to the plate. This guy has been on a tear in the postseason. In their 8 postseason games, he's driven in 10. Sophomore from just north of Chicago, has 9 homers on the season. 2 of those came in the Big 12 tournament in Oklahoma City. He was named to the all-tournament team. 5'11", and he gets low at the plate, and he looks at a low strike, 1-1. Troy Fullwood is our home plate umpire tonight. Cam Warner at first. He can run. He's got 9 stolen bases on the year. Not going here, and this one's lined to the gap in left center. Cut off on the run by J.B. Moss. Headed to third is Warner. Not only can TCU take a base as a stolen base, but they may get first to third better than anybody in baseball.
They're aggressive on a base pass. It's one of the things they've done the entire year. For TCU, top to bottom, they're not afraid to run, and it's not just one guy. 5 in this lineup have double-digit stolen bases. Scoug isn't one of them, but he can do this. A little inside out to left center field. First and third for the Frogs early.
And the big bat coming to the plate in the form of Lucan Baker. He's a 6'4", 265-pound freshman from Spring, Texas. And before he sees a pitch, Texas A&M head coach Rob Childress is going to make an early visit to the mound to have a word with Brigham Hill.
Well, the one thing early for Hill, the velocity's down a little bit from what we've seen. He bumped to 92, but other than that, has been 89, 90. We've seen Hill into the mid-90s earlier this year. A lot of times he'll pitch between 89 to 93, so maybe down a little bit. I think you'd rather see that than the other if you're Rob Childress. Guys that are sinker ball guys, if they're out there trying to throw too hard, the ball will come up in the zone, but there's been 2 good swings in a row by TCU.
So needing an out, this will put some pressure on Texas A&M's defense. J.B. Moss in center, Nick Banks in right. He's got a big-time arm, but the arm that they're most concerned with is Michael Barish behind the plate. The LSU transfer was drafted today, and he knows that he, along with his pitching staff, is going to be responsible for trying to slow down TCU. 22nd in the nation with 92 stolen bases on the year. And then this guy. Big 12 freshman of the year and the most outstanding player in the Big 12 tournament. He set a conference record in hits and runs in their run through Oklahoma City. And while Lucan Baker's size may grab your attention, it's his knowledge of the strike zone that is part of his most advanced game.
Yeah, for a freshman, more walks than strikeouts. 43 walks, 34 strikeouts for Baker over the course of this year.
He's homered 8 times this year, and during this TCU run, in which they've won 12 of their last 13 games, he's hitting over .530 with 5 of his 8 home runs. And he checks that one low. 2 balls and a strike. It's an 8-game hit streak for Baker, second-team All-American. Big 12 Freshman of the Year, first-team all-conference designated hitter. Oh, he also pitches, or at least he did before his elbow started barking. And he was also a first-team utility player. And that just missed, and now the count 3-1, and Brigham Hill in real trouble.
So one thing we talked to this TCU coaching staff this year is for Baker, I think the most impressive thing over the course of the year has been pitch selection. There's not a lot of freshmen that have the ability to be this patient at the plate. Baker's been that way the entire year.
There goes the runner from first. Pitch is low and away, and the bases are loaded for the Horned Frogs with one out in the first inning. So here's Elliot Barzilli, the junior from Los Angeles, started his playing career at Georgia Tech, transferred into TCU. Barzilli is playing with blood in his left eye, took a bad hop in the Oklahoma City Big 12 tournament. Was a first-team all-conference performer and was still named to the all-tournament team, even though his eye was swelled shut after the final game. He said his vision is fine, but it's not a pretty sight to look at. Bases loaded, and a first pitch fastball in for a strike. A strikeout, then a pair of singles and a walk.
There's that sinker. He gets over the top of that two-seamer. You can see it really dive under the hands of the right-handed hitter. That was the best one he's thrown today.
This is not a Texas A&M defense that is particularly adept at turning double plays. Last in the SEC, they've only turned 34 of them. Ground ball to the right side. Glove by Melton to second for one. Back to first, and they throw it away. Here comes a second run. And the shaky defense for Texas A&M comes back to bite them. Instead of an inning-ending double play, the Horned Frogs push two across here in the first and still going.
The Aggies made a switch about halfway through the season, and Austin Holman goes in at shortstop. The first throw doesn't look bad at all. In fact, it's a really good one for Holman to throw, but a lot of times for that shortstop, you're not exactly sure who's going to cover first base. Hill was getting over there. Melton started to move like he'd get back there in time. Instead, it was Brigham Hill. Throw was not a good throw, and the Frogs are on the board. If it is a good throw, it's a double play and innings over because the ball beat the runner.
It's a 16th error of the season on the A&M junior college shortstop Austin Holman. To the right side, and Melton will take this one himself. 20-pitch first inning for Brigham Hill. A couple of singles and an error. Aggies behind the 8 ball here in the first inning.
So TCU and Texas A&M are still in the first inning. Arizona up 1-0 on Mississippi State. They have resumed play at Dudy Noble Field. TCU and Texas A&M will resume on the SEC network right now. It will come back to ESPN2 when Arizona and Mississippi State are done. So, back to Dudy Noble Field for the conclusion of this one.
The lights back on in Starkville. Arizona leading 1-0. Dalbec still on the mound. He came back after that delay. There is a man at first. It's Nathaniel Lowe for Mississippi State. The tying run is on here in the 8th inning. It was a citywide power outage, Ben McDonald.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it just went blank.
Couldn't have come at a worse time for Arizona with Dalbec just dealing through 7 innings. He had retired 11 straight before it went dark. This is going to get on a play foul off the bat of Gavin Collins, who's 1 for 3 tonight. He has been outstanding on the mound for Arizona. Not a starter for the balance of the year, usually out of the bullpen, but tonight getting the start, just 3 hits allowed here tonight.
Just dominating. I mean, certainly the best start of the year for him without a doubt, because you got to remember, this is Mississippi State. This is the 2nd best offense in the SEC and one of the best in the entire country. And I'm telling you what, he has flat out just dominated. Only 3 hits at this point and has goose-egged Mississippi State.
Over half an hour delay. Dalbec, rarely pitches into the 8th inning, so it's amazing that he's still on the mound today.
No, it really is. And it's what a weird sequence of events. I mean, not a cloud in the sky, and you lose power.
The 2-2. Ground ball to the second baseman. Raymer. Did they get the lead man? Yes, they did. Lowe is out at second base. 2 down here in the 8th. I'll bring up Jacob Robson. And Lewis Boyd shaken up on that play. Trainer's going to come out to check on the Arizona shortstop. Shaking off his right hand. Here's what happened in Starkville at 7:32. The lights went out. We resumed 37 minutes later. And Jack Kruger is the first man up for Mississippi State in the bottom of the 8th. And he's hit in the helmet by Dalbec. Then Nathaniel Lowe. It looked like it was going to leak into right field, but a great play by Aguilar to get the force out. And this is the play that just happened. Gavin Collins hits into the fielder's choice. Lowe is out, 2 down here in the 8th, and that brings up Jacob Robson for Mississippi State.
And how about those 2 defensive plays by Arizona? One by the first baseman, Aguilar. And then what a gutty play by Raymer, the second baseman. Could have taken the easy out at first, but went over to second base and got the lead out. 2 outstanding defensive plays by Arizona here in the bottom of the 8th.
This match is a season high for innings pitched for Dalbec, 7 2/3. This is the 6th time he's gone over 100 pitches in a ball game. He's at 105 right now. And that includes a delay of 37 minutes because of the power outage here in Starkville. With the talk going on during that delay, especially among the Bulldogs fans, is rally outage.
Rally outage.
LSU's got the rally possum. They're thinking rally outage.
I'm telling you what, if Mississippi State comes back and wins this ball game, they may turn the lights out on every sporting event that they're losing in towards the end of everything. Because this is awfully strange.
Robson 0 for 3 tonight. Tying runners on for Mississippi State. Collins at first. The 1-0 to Robson. Breaking ball. He gets back foul, 1-1. And Jay Johnson had to be beside himself, the head coach for Arizona. His starter just sticking it to Mississippi State, ready to take the mound for the 8th inning, and bang, lights go out.
Yeah, I mean, you could tell that he was upset, visibly upset, and I don't blame him. I mean, this pitcher's throwing the game of his life out there. You're dealing on a team at Mississippi State that you're not supposed to win this game, and then something like this happens, he wants to go play.
2 balls and a strike to Jacob Robson, the 5 for 9 hitters in John Cohen's order tonight, 0 for 12. It has been a difficult night for the Bulldog hitters. Just 3 hits tonight against Dalbec.
You got to give Dalbec a lot of credit. He comes out, he hits the first batter in Kruger, but then he settles down and gets a couple of ground balls. Now he's just 1 out away from getting out of this inning.
Now just 1 strike away.
And that's been him right there. The ability to throw something other than a fastball and a fastball count has been the ticket for him tonight against Mississippi State. That was his best pitch, a changeup in a 2-1 count, a fastball count. He's been able to deliver that changeup or that breaking ball pretty much all night long in fastball counts. There it is.
Wow. Through 8 innings. Plus 37 minutes. Bobby Dalbec has stuck it to Mississippi State. And the Cats lead going to the 9th.
Bobby Dalbec, power outage, no power outage. He's still got his A-game era Arizona beating Mississippi State.
For tonight's Capital One Cup Impact performance, look no further than Bobby Dalbec tonight. Amazing through 8 innings, 109 pitches, 7 strikeouts.
Drafted today in the 4th round as a position player. Are you kidding me? Put this kid on the bump. 8 innings pitched, 3 hits, 2 walks, 7 punch-outs, and he's thrown the game of his life. That changeup and all-speed pitches have been outstanding, and he has goose-egged Mississippi State through 8 innings tonight.
Makes you wonder why he wasn't a starter for the lion's share of the year and still used just out of the bullpen.
No, you're right, but he does have 7 saves, so you know he had good stuff. There's no doubt about that, and maybe he felt like he was more valuable to close games throughout the year, but certainly a big surprise for Arizona.
Lewis, Salazar, Oliva, the scheduled hitters, 6, 7, and 8 for Arizona. Daniel Brown, who came on in relief of Dakota Hudson, also comes back after that long delay. There's Dakota. He's in line for the loss here tonight. And he didn't pitch badly.
No, he didn't. I mean, we've seen him be a little bit sharper at times, but all in all, he went out and competed well. Hudson went 6 1/3, 7 hits, 1 run is it, 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. I really thought he pitched well. Run scored from him from first base on a double. Other than that, that's it.
Lewis fouls it back, 2 balls and 2 strikes to Lewis, who's 0 for 3 tonight. We talked about it earlier, Ben. 73% of super regional hosts have gone on to the College World Series since this format was introduced in '99. But the balance of power shifts to the winner of Game 1. Almost 80% of the time, the winner of Game 1 goes to Omaha. Ground ball. And Lewis is out number 1 here in the 9th. And if Arizona can take this game tonight, not only are the odds in their favor, they've got their ace likely going tomorrow night in Nathan Bannister.
Yeah, Bannister's been outstanding pitcher of the year. And he's working on some short rest right now. I mean, he had to pitch twice in that UL region last weekend's reason why he didn't start tonight. And you don't know. I mean, now that Arizona appears as though they may hang on. If they hang on to Game 1, you may even see Bannister get 1 more extra day rest, and maybe they come with Cloney tomorrow and then save Bannister for the if game on Sunday if need be. But certainly nice to have options if you're Jay Johnson in Arizona for sure.
Salazar is single in 3 trips. Bannister 126 2/3 innings pitched this year, most in the Pac-12. Lazy fly ball to center. Robson coming over. He'll make the catch, 2 down. And Brown has retired all 7 Arizona hitters he has faced since coming on in the 7th inning for Mississippi State.
Well, we talked about the deep pitching staff for Mississippi State and how they had 10 guys on this roster that accumulated 20 innings or more. Daniel Brown's one of the left-handed arms out of that bullpen, and he's right, he's been outstanding.
So looking ahead to the Mississippi State 9th inning, Rooker, Humphreys, and Gridley. Not a hit from those 3 yet tonight. Jared Oliva at the plate. He's 1 for 3 with a single his last time up. I saw Dave Vaughn just a second ago on the walkie-talkie, no doubt talking to the bullpen, getting set for the 9th. Got to believe Dalbec's night is done.
Yeah, or if he does go out, I mean, it's going to, as soon as somebody gets on base, he'll be out of the ball game, no doubt.
This should end the inning. Any magic for Mississippi State tonight? We're going to find out. They've got 13 come from behind wins this year. Rooker, Humphreys, Gridley for the Dogs when we come back to Starkville.
The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals is presented by the Quicksilver Card from Capital One. Earn unlimited 1.5% cash back every purchase every day.
Back in an illuminated Starkville, Mississippi for the NCAA Super Regionals presented by Capital One. We had a 37-minute delay because of a citywide power outage here in Starkville. Last chance for the Dogs here in game one. Here's a look at our side of the bracket. Boy, it's such a amazing story. Bobby Dalbec tonight. I said, you know, it's unlikely that we see him out for the ninth. What do I know? Here he comes. He's going to face Rooker, Humphreys, and Gridley. 6, 7, and 8 for the Dogs, who have just 3 hits tonight against the 4th-round draft pick of the Red Sox, selected earlier today.
Well, Dalbec's just been a horse. I mean, that last fastball, how about 91 miles an hour? He just keeps pumping. That's at 92, down below the knees, and knocking the black off the outside corner of the plate.
Rooker struck out his last time up against Dalbec.
I think he may be sharper now than he was the first 3 or 4 innings of the ball game.
I tend to agree with you. Doesn't chase 1 and 2. Cameron Ming, as an emergency valve, is loosening up in the Arizona bullpen down the right field line. Sophomore left-hander. Pulled down the line, but foul outside of third. Come from behind wins. 1 walk-off win earlier this year. That came against Louisiana Monroe. Rooker fouls it off. Brent has 9 home runs on the year. He was named the MVP of the Starkville Regional last week. Hit 4 homers, or excuse me, 400 with 2 homers. 6 runs batted in.
Well, that's good news for Mississippi State. They're just 1 swing away from the tie, and any of these guys can run it out of the ballpark.
Just missed off the plate.
And I got to give home plate umpire Chris Marshall a lot of credit, Clay. I think he's been very consistent.
Yes.
That ball could have been called, but it has not been a strike all night long. He continues to have the same strike zone even through the power outage.
Got him with the breaking ball. 8th strikeout tonight.
Fastball in the outside corner after fastball after fastball. And then, how about this? Just a nasty breaking ball that we've seen all night long. Rooker clearly swings right over top of it. And look at that dugout. You don't think they're excited? And I noticed they didn't even throw the ball around the infield after the strikeout. The catcher, Salazar, just threw it right back to Dalbec. So let's get the next guy out.
And that's Reed Humphreys. He's off the pitch up high. Reed Humphreys 0 for 3 with a couple of strikeouts tonight. It's foul. Humphreys was hoping to come into this game in the 9th as the closer with a Mississippi State lead. Now he's at the plate with 1 out in the 9th, and Mississippi State down a run.
That's a good pitch by Dalbec. Right on the inside part, up and in. Now speed the bat up, then you can slow it back down with a breaking ball or a fastball off the outside corner. Fastball ran back out over the plate, but still he's even in the count 2-2. Everything's going the way for Bobby Dalbec right now.
How about Mississippi State telling the Arizona fans, yeah, you can have some seats. Nearly 13,000 fans here tonight. Got him! And now, Arizona just 1 out away from taking game 1 here in Starkville.
And this is something different. This wasn't the bigger breaking ball we've seen. This has been a short, tight breaking ball, almost a page out of Dakota Hudson's book. How about this cut fastball? Watch this. Just a little small break to that. Not anything like the big break. So now Bobby Dalbec is starting to show you a bigger breaking ball that he struck out Rooker on to begin this inning, and then a shorter, tighter breaking ball that he gets Humphreys on.
Ryan Gridley, the shortstop for the Bulldogs, is up there. He's been on twice, hit by a pitch twice. quickly Dalbec works ahead, which he has been doing consistently since the start of this ballgame.
Well, I just can't believe the command. I can't believe the strength, the endurance of a guy, Bobby Dalbec, not used to this heat as far as humidity goes. Only his 5th start of the year, and here we are 120 pitches in, and he's still rolling.
Deep short, knocked down by Boyd, but he won't have a play. And the tying run is on for Mississippi State. A 2-out infield single by Gridley.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad breaking ball at all by Dalbec. Really goes out. He's out in front of it, but he keeps his hands and the barrel of the bat back and just hits it right to the shortstop, just in the hole. You see the shortstop, Boyd dives, lays out, that ball kicked away, and that was it.
Now, John Cohen doesn't have a very deep pinch hitting bench. He's going to let a 227 hitter and John Holland hit for himself. Here with 2 outs in the 9th. Holland is 0 for 3. Just missed time.
This Mississippi State offense scored 17 runs on 33 hits in 3 games in the regional last weekend. And they've been held to no runs on only 4 hits by Bobby Dalbec so far tonight.
And that hit by Gridley, the first for Mississippi State since the 3rd inning. Ball and a strike. Game 2 is tomorrow. 6 Eastern time. Who's going to have the lead? Down and in, 2-1. Bobby Dalbec had 126 pitches, his season high 135. That was at BYU early in the year.
There's been the difference maker from that changeup. He's been able to throw it in those types of counts and fastball counts. He missed that time. Now 3 balls and 1 strike. Interesting to see if he challenges right here. Don't want to walk a guy and put the tying run at second base where only a 1-base hit will tie the ball game. So I'm thinking he's coming with his best pitch in this situation.
Fastball.
Yep.
Lifted foul.
And I think that's the right call. You got to challenge him. Whatever you feel like you can throw for a strike right now, you got to throw it. But don't be surprised now, 3-2. We've seen him do it 3 times tonight with 2 out and a 3-2 count. He's throwing a 3-2 changeup. He's got outs on it every time. We'll see what he does tonight.
There's Mangum on deck, hoping to get a chance. Just the 2nd full count tonight for Dalbec. 3-2, bouncing ball left side and throw. Holding at second is Gridley, and Mangum will get that chance.
There it was. It was the 3-2 changeup, but this one time it's left up in the zone. Wasn't down in the zone where he's been Dalbec pretty much all night long. But give John Holland a lot of credit. The number 9-hole hitter in the Mississippi State lineup. He sits back, he waits, and he hits it right through the hole. Ball just up in his zone a little bit. You see the shortstop, Boyd, had him shaded more up the middle. Now Mississippi State got the tie-in run at second base with 2 out.
And the SEC Freshman of the Year coming up next, but he may not face Bobby Dalbec. Here comes Jay Johnson.
And you didn't think he would again. If you look at Jake Mangum, he's hitting .455 against right-handers coming in, .286. Almost a 200-point difference against left-handers. No doubt Arizona going to bring in a lefty in here. I'm saying they're going to bring in a lefty. Nobody's come through the door down there yet.
Cameron Ming starting to trot out now. What a job by Bobby Dalbec, and even the Mississippi State fans who've rooted against him all night have to be impressed. What a performance. I didn't think then that there was any way after that 37-minute power outage that he was going to return in the game finish.
Yeah, and not only did he returned with as much or more focus than what he's had. You see the numbers, 8+ innings, 5 hits, 2 walks, and 9 strikeouts. I'm pretty sure Bobby Dalbec has never thrown a better or bigger game in his life.
What a day for him. Drafted by the Red Sox in the 4th round today. Comes out, throws 8 2/3 shutout ball in game 1 of the Super Regional against one of the best teams in the country. And now Arizona just 1 out away from taking game 1. Here's Cameron Ming. Ming, a sophomore from Phoenix, 3 1/3 scoreless in the regional championship game last week. 39 pitches thrown, 32 strikes. The pitching coach, Dave Lawn, absolutely loves this kid.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, the stuff is really, really good by Ming. Pitched some big innings for him. The stuff's good. He's going to show you a fastball. You see the numbers, 3.86. I like his strikeout to walk ratio, almost 3-1. He's logged a lot of innings, 65 1/3. Fastball's probably going to be anywhere, you know, he's a mid to upper 80, not a big power arm, but really relies on control. That's his thing. He really spots the fastball in and out, show you a good changeup and breaking ball as well.
Dalbec, 5 hits allowed tonight. 9 total strikeouts, Ben.
Yeah, Dalbec threw enough fastballs to make Mississippi State honest. He got ahead with the fastball, but then he finished with the changeup. And that breaking ball, once it got going, look, it was as good as anybody's. Another breaking ball, perfect down and in. How about a backdoor breaking ball? How about that one? Just breaking ball after breaking ball. What he got when he got ahead, there's a changeup going down the way. So it's the all-speed stuff that really was the best for him, but he threw enough fastballs to keep him honest. And I tell you what, impressive outing by Bobby Dalbec.
They turn Mangum around now, hitting from the right-hand side. He's 1 for 4 tonight. First pitch, a strike on the breaking ball. Dalbec 39 pitches and 3 strikeouts after the power outage.
After what I saw tonight, I'm telling you, he may end up on the bump in pro ball.
The 0-1 to Mangum. 0-2, and now the Bulldogs down to their last strike. This freshman out of Pearl, Mississippi's had so many great moments for Mississippi State this year. The tying runners at second base, trying to deliver for these fans. Nearly 13,000 in attendance tonight.
How about Cameron Ming coming in? Breaking ball, strike 1, paints the inside corner, strike 2.
Got him! And Arizona takes the lead in the Super Regional with a 1-0 victory over Mississippi State.
Well, you can hear a pin drop in this place, and this is over 13,000 here tonight, right at it. How about this? Cameron Ming, breaking ball, then a fastball in the inside corner, 0-2, and watch the location and the nastiness of that breaking ball. A back foot breaking ball, and the best hitter in the SEC goes down. You think Ming and Arizona, and Dalbec's not pumped up. What a giant W for him in Arizona.
Mississippi State shut out tonight. They leave 10 on base. Dalbec gets his 10th win. Hudson takes the loss, Ming the save. 1-0. Arizona will have game 2 tomorrow at 6 Eastern. Now, game 1, TCU, Texas A&M in College Station.